What up, fam? This is A2D Wednesday nights. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Come join us talking Eagles, Bucks. It's playoff time. Are we advancing? We'll find out. Let's go. Welcome in, everybody. This is A2D Wednesday nights, only on A2D Radio. Every Wednesday, we are brought to you by our good friends over at Royal Billiard, the premier game room store to Delaware Valley. Listen, they're stocked with everything for your game room. Go check them out. The showroom's incredible. 515 Bethlehem Pike, Colmar, PA. And listen, you get a little hot tub in you, which I'm going to need because I got, for everybody out there, I see everybody in the comments. I don't usually get right into the comments when we come into a show, but everybody's like, oh, I see Josh, they're not professionals. Like, Josh. See, this is what happens when you get ahead of yourselves, right? Like, no stream, we're here, baby. We show up, all right? We're always here. So don't worry about us showing up. I got smoke from behind coming home. My back's on fire. Tom's here, ain't he? So don't ever question. I don't care. It's playoff week. You going to question my fanhood? You got to take things in. You got to destroy my car. I would have sprinted home, all right? A guy went through the back of my car. I got to traverse. You just don't go through that with a little baby car. Through it, okay? So I'm here, ain't I? So everybody act was not professional. I never claimed to be professional. I just claimed to know my shit. Big difference. You know what I mean? That's all I ever claimed. All right, here we go. We got Greg. Luke is now joining us on A2D Wednesday nights moving forward. So we're excited to have Luke on and the Cromer. Tom, who got hit from behind again. And if I mention my back's in a lot of pain, I'm going to mention it again because it is. And I'm just running off pure adrenaline. So, Josh, we appreciate you. I can't even talk. Sixers Hawks post game thoughts on that. I can tell you right now, no Joel Embiid. I don't have thoughts. Okay, because it's a lottery team. Make sense? Without the big fellow, it's a lottery team. So let's just call that what it is. But we'll talk about Sixers later on the show. And NFL wild card weekend preview. We got game Saturday. We got game Sunday, and of course, the National Football League put us to get embarrassed on Monday night in front of the world. And that's going to be our main topic at hand. Eagles, Bucks embarrassment now. Eagles, Bucks preview and predictions is our main topic. Ties in right into our poll question. That's brought to you by Baggio's Bread, located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Home of the best stuffed bread, tomato pies, sandwiches, cutlets, meatballs. You mentioned A2D Radio, you get 10% off. Our poll just for Josh tonight. You know what I mean? Just for Josh. So, the Philadelphia Eagles will survive the first round of the playoffs. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. That's where we're live. Everywhere you get your podcasts, we're there as well. Everywhere. Hit the like, subscribe, follow, join the conversation. Tell your boys to tell their boys a little bit about real talk. Okay. So here we go. Sunday night was not a good. It was a great show. And agree, disagree, right? Because I feel like the family likes train wrecks sometimes. You know what I mean?
We were a train wreck.
Family likes a good train wreck. So Sunday night, how do you pick them? That's a conversation. How, after you watch the team for 6 weeks, almost get worse? I think they got worse. How do you then turn around and say for the Philadelphia Eagles that they are good enough to beat anybody? Like how? You guys know me out there in the chat. You guys know me on the show. I so badly want to say by Wednesday, you know what? I'm flipping around here. We're going to go down there and beat them. We're talking about a defense that's our biggest Achilles heel is when teams pressure. I mean, Jalen couldn't pick up a blitz package to save his life, right? In terms of reading, but whatever. You can't say anything bad. I get it. All right. But I could use you because it's like, sorry, look, like 101.
I got it.
If I'm teaching a high school quarterback, throw out the blitz. Right? Like if I'm teaching a high school goddamn quarterback, throw out the blitz. We want to throw out the blitz. What do we do? We don't want to jump the gun on everything. Throw out the blitz. 101, common sense, QB factory stuff that this QB factory doesn't seem to want to enlighten their quarterback or their play calls or any of that stuff when blitzes come. So again, this ain't just Jalen. This is terrible all around. It's been disgusting all around for this football team. So anybody in there in the comments that feels like the Eagles are going to win, we want to hear from you tonight. And not only do we want to hear from you, we need to hear why. And it might be a long explanation. And we understand we're here for it because we may need it tonight. Because I disagree. The Eagles aren't surviving nothing. And if they do, good. Prove me wrong. Because you're in prove-it mode. I'm not going to sit up here with damn pom-poms, right, and a little cute cheerleader outfit for everybody with a bad back right now. And because I want to be able to dance. So I'm not doing that. I love this football team, right? Nobody takes Eagles losses worse than me. I can only speak for me. Everybody else takes them bad too, right? But if you've been grounded when you were younger over a loss, that's some real shit. That's where I was, okay? 2 weeks. Chris Bonia or Tommy Hutton couldn't get it down versus Dallas. I lost my mind. I always pick the Eagles to win. Not this week. So it's prove it time.
Wow.
It's prove it time. I can put
wow.
I can see how they can win. Right? I got eyeballs. I can see how they can win. It's the NFL. They can absolutely go win this game. They are not winning this game. They're not. I have no confidence. I have no confidence in anything this team has done. Nothing. So your time, the only thing that I can hang my hat on, I'll leave you with this. The only thing you can hang your hat on is a little light switch up. Little light switch up. Let me turn that light on from everybody in the organization. Come playoff time. Does your $255 million quarterback, does he have the it factor? We're going to find out Monday night. Because that's it. There's no, like, if he does, you get your roses. Right? It's how this works here. It's how this works. You are the face of our organization. You got to come on and carry, baby. You got to come out of the tunnel with the Superman on, right? And you got to lead us. You got to lead us to a win. What have we always talked about? He's a winner. He's a leader. Then go win. And nobody can say a word. You win 15-12. Ain't nobody can say a word. You survive in advance. You find a lot about a football team Monday night and a quarterback. That's all. My time's done here. They're losing.
Yeah, no, I'm right with you. I'm at the point now where I think expectations, tapering the expectations a little bit, might make any kind of a win enjoyable or any kind of a positive performance. Because I'll be honest, I there's no way I can come into this game and feel optimistic about anything. I mean, you look at the last and even the game they won. You look at the last like 5 or 6 weeks, particularly, and really it's been all season. It has been an uphill battle. And we've given way too much loose rope. We've given way more benefit of the doubt. So, and we don't even know, we assume, but we don't know who's going to be healthy coming into this game at this point. There's so many people that have been hurt, particularly on the offensive side of the football. You hope that you have the opportunity to come in here with, at least a close to, a full chamber full. But I just don't know what we're going to look at here. I don't have any comments on the coaching staff. The fact that Matt Patricia wasn't fired at halftime of the last game is insane to me at this point. But here we are. We're coming in and we're, the first team to go 10-1 and not win a division, not win 12 games, not even a division, not win 12 games. That gives me every reason to not be optimistic at this point. I don't believe in the coaching staff. I do believe in Nick. I don't know about this season.
Can I ask you why?
Well, because listen, I just don't think.
No, by the way, not saying I'm anti-Nick. I'm just curious.
Right. No, I know you're not. I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt on one season because he has proven that his last 2 coordinators got head coaching jobs. So if you put the right guys in place, I think that. I think he's a really good coach. I just think it was really piss poor decisions, honestly, coming in. And Matt Patricia has obviously not been the answer. And I think they're scuffling. It's a very vanilla offense. It's a very, very vanilla defense. Everybody can see everything coming a mile away. Like, we're all Tony Romo every week at this point watching games, predicting every play and every screen and every, design run. We've all become Tony Romo when it comes to watching the Eagles games. So I think, with a reset button coordinator wise, I still have belief in Nick. He had two guys get hired head coaches and took him to the Super Bowl. Next season, short leash. We'll talk about that down the road. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not very confident in this week, and I could see with the season Baker's had this season coming out and slinging it on us. There's a lot of weapons on that offense in Tampa.
It's Slay playing.
Mike Evans might have. I think
is that loser playing yet? Is that snake that loser? Is he playing yet?
Well, when I saw him last week, he said that he said it's. I asked him. He said it seems like he's good to go.
What does that mean?
As far as playoff time when the playoffs run, I think he's going to play this week.
All right. Yeah, you would go for a meet and greet with him. Mm-hmm.
That's all right.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's got to go and get the intel for us. I mean, come on.
With intel, a photo. Would you get?
I asked him about his knee. He said
you got 100. You got 2,000 photos in your photo.
He told me he was going to be good to go for the playoffs. I asked him. I said, "You're going to be good for the playoffs." He said, "Yeah."
No, we're going to need him. Even though I think his antics are loserish, right? We definitely could use him. we're not anti anybody that can deflect the ball. You know what I mean? Anybody maybe man up.
Smoke down the field without him. Like you need all hands on deck. Even though it may not be, the creme de la creme of players out there, you need every bit of talent that you have possible at your disposal at this point.
Okay, so he announced it himself. Everybody's saying I didn't see it on Twitter, so appreciate it. Glad he's playing. Now be a big play.
Sorry, my dog's licking me over here.
Now you just got to control your own handle. That's it. Listen, I don't have time to say it with some of these guys. At the end of the day, you're judged off of winning. You're judged off of performance. It's a big game for this football team. It's big to tell you who guys are. Trying to find out who guys are.
Oh, I'll kind of bounce off of that. I disagree. I think we're going to lose the game. And I think, and I talked about it last Monday before the Giants game, and now you're looking at an even worse situation, obviously, with how embarrassing that was. To me, I don't believe they will do it, but I think if they lose this game, I don't care by how much or anything like that, there's enough talent on your team to go have a deep playoff run, but you also know that you have a deep enough team to not collapse the way that you did. It's embarrassing, and I'll tell you this right now. People talk about NFL windows with their team when talking about keeping and firing coaches. Sometimes they act like NBA teams. The NFL window for championships goes, if you're lucky, maybe 4 years. So you're talking about a team right now with a whole lot of assets, a whole lot of talent, young talent, whatever. Your window is 4 years. So I'm not wasting a year. I'm going to every single player on that team after this loss that we all see coming. I'm going to every single player on that team and saying, is this the guy? And I'm asking a million questions behind the scenes. I can't waste a year. I can't afford to do that. Is the coach the guy? Or
why are we
anyone
focused
on the coaching staff?
Well, why are we focused on that?
Well, I just see a lot of the same personnel out there, and it fell off. Things that were working in the first half of the season aren't working. That doesn't just happen. Doesn't just happen.
It doesn't happen if your quarterback is playing in inept.
Well, no, I agree.
Inept at the position.
I think a lot to do with that is how predictable everything is. A lot of it. It's ridiculous. Everything.
I think that's a combo in it, right?
No, I agree with you.
But I also think there's another side of that, right? In not arguing. I'm in the middle of it, right, guys? You understand? I'm not one side or the other. What I'm saying to everybody is, yes, the play designs and everything and the calls at the right times obviously impact the football game, right? But you know what else does? You know what elite does? Like I don't know how else to say it. Like when I make a guy the face of my work, this isn't shot to Jalen Hurts. These are the facts. People don't like the facts, but I'm delivering facts to people. If he does not play well, why are we automatically? That's on him. What? It's on both. You're tied at the hip. So if Nick ain't good enough, then the quarterback ain't good enough because they've won games. So if they've gotten worse, and both of them then have gotten degressed, then who's it on? Who we get rid of Nick? If I get rid of Nick, Jalen can go with him. They are. Listen, the amount of winning. You guys are just giving this kid a pick. You talk, Carl. I'll leave you this. The key attributes that we talked about on draft night were leadership and winning, which he's done a lot of winning. Now you are judged off your playoff success. I'm not getting rid of Jalen Hurts. You understand? I'm making the point that, like, if they're in the playoffs every year, why are we getting rid of Nick and then keeping Jalen? Like, then we can keep up.
Well,
and see if it works.
I look more at the reasons for why we're losing. And I get it. It could be on both. And I agree with you completely. But when you look at what the next step is and how to take advantage of the team that you have in the locker room, which is talent-wise one of the best in the league. And to be honest with you, up there with every team we've had that's won a lot of games in the last however many years. So if you want to bring in somebody, to me, that's like filling a hole in any sport. I don't get why you have to, latch onto these coaches all the time. The players
also a
more
very
valuable
old
than the
roster, though.
That's what bad organizations do. Bad organizations panic and they fire a coach after going to 3 straight playoff appearances.
Agreed.
Right? That's what bad organizations do. Right? I mean, when you look at the Chicago Bears right now, they made an actual good decision by bringing Eberflus back because look at what they did down the thing. Now they have a huge decision. I'm not comparing us with the Bears, but they have a huge decision to make that we made last summer, or we made this past summer. And are they going to pay Justin Fields, or are they going to go and draft Caleb Williams? Right? We paid our guy. Right? Our guy's here. So now the worst thing for us to do is to trade or to fire our head coach because we went to 3 straight playoffs. I'm not saying it's all roses and sunshines and BJs, right? But the worst thing for us to do is to try and restart. Who's out there? I mean, yes, there's some good names out there, but they're going to get scooped up by the time that we're done. So I think the worst thing for us to do is to continue to talk about Nick Sirianni not being here.
Yeah, I don't buy into like the Nick not being here stuff right now, right? Like again, I think they both deserve another year, right? When you talk about Jalen and Nick, like they both deserve another year, and then we can judge it off of next year if things change. Now, like if you're asking me if I had like the perfect fit in mind, yeah, I would have fired Nick yesterday for Vrabel. Like that ain't even up for debate. If Tomlin goes for some reason in Pittsburgh, which there's rumblings, right? I'm all in on that. I'm all in on that. So like there's names that are better than Nick Sirianni. But unless I know factually it's a better name, like I know for sure that's a better coach, I'm not doing that yet. Right? Yet. And guess what? We still have a playoff game to play. So back to our poll. Because that's where we're at, right? I mean, we still have a playoff game to win or to play here. I'm not going to win it, but we still have a game to play. And the poll was the Eagles will survive the first round of the playoffs. Do you agree or agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and everywhere you get your podcasts. Chime in.
Blake, you can go ahead with this one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to start off with what happened on Sunday. It just seemed like to me, like as soon as AJ Brown went down, it just seemed like to me, like after that moment, like the team just totally just folded. Like everybody just like it just seemed like everybody just quit at that point, and it just really bothered me because, if your intent was to not really like go all out and win this game, then what was the point of playing your starters if you knew you were content on just staying with the 5th seed? Because at one point, if the way everything was going and you saw what was happening in the Washington Dallas game, Washington was leading Dallas 10-7 at one point. Now, granted, I didn't think Washington really had any chance to come back and beat, and finish that off and hold on the lead and hold off Dallas. I knew Dallas was going to come out and beat them and destroy them in the end. But it just seemed like to me, like, why play the veterans? Why play your starters if you really had no intent on winning this game? Because once the Giants went up 24-0, I mean, everybody knew it was a wrap. Everybody watching around the Delaware Valley knew it was a wrap. That that they pretty much had packed it in, and let's get ready for next week. To me, it's like, well, you had a shot at the number 2 seed. I mean, even though everybody knew that probably Washington wasn't going to beat Dallas, but to me, it was just I didn't like the effort. I don't really feel confident going into this game next week. Although I do see the Eagles winning this one, only for the fact that, like I said last week, that Tampa's really not that good. They barely just beat Carolina in that regular season game. You saw 9-0. I don't really consider that impressive in my opinion. So if the Eagles had to draw like a good first round opponent, I think this is the opponent they had to draw. I'm glad they drew Tampa because I think they can win this one, but they're not going any further than the first round if they do win this one. So, even if they win this one, it's not going to solve the problems that's going on in the team now. It's not going to solve what we're seeing. And, I think if somehow they don't win this one next week and it ends up getting bad and it's ugly, I think you really have to seriously consider Nick Sirianni's job, on the table here.
What, right now?
Wait,
I don't know, like right now, but like I just think depending on what the outcome of next week's game is basically going to, maybe see where this is headed, in the off season. But
so let's rationalize this, right?
Can I jump back on something real quick? I was waiting, but I wanted to let him finish his point.
No,
I have to disagree with you on the if you have no intent to win the football game remark because listen, they came out stale. We've seen that all season. AJ gets hurt early in the game, and at that point, that Dallas game starts shifting. It was clear Dallas was going to win that game. You lost your biggest bullet in the chamber, and your quarterback can't do it on his own at that point. So they said, listen, at this point, there is no point in risking hurting more players. You just lost your best player, honestly, of this season at that point. So to say, like, there's no intent to win and, like, listen, the effort wasn't great coming out. I just don't think they schemed well, again, coming into the game. But I can't sit here and say you had no intention to win the football game because I don't believe that at all. I just think immediately the house of cards started crumbling very quickly, and they were like, you know what? Instead of like pushing our luck here, we're going to be the 5 seed already. Let's just do it. Get some guys some reps out there and rest our starters. So like I don't like the statement of like if you don't intend to win a game because I don't think there is ever a question that any NFL player steps on the field without an intention to win a football game.
Yeah, well, I just think not that maybe I'll rephrase that a little bit. Not that I don't think they intended on to win the game, but it just seemed like to me once AJ went down, I think they came out, thinking, that they wanted to win the game. But to me, once AJ went down, it just seemed like, all right, that's it. We're content on being the number 5 seed. Let's just,
Well, you're missing DeVonta. You're missing DeAndre Swift. You're missing DeVonta. You're missing DeAndre. Now you're missing AJ Brown. Do we want Dallas, who gets hurt, to be out there on the field at that point? Do we want Julio Jones?
Here's another thing too. They didn't run the ball either, and I was like, I really thought after
they've been coasting. Guys, they've been coasting for freaking 6 weeks now. Like, I don't know, tell anybody. Like you schemes and all the rest aren't effort. It has nothing to do with effort. Schematics and effort are 2 separate things.
Agreed.
They've not played with effort for 5, at least 6 weeks. It feels like, or 5. Say 5 out of the 6. There was no effort in those games. We all got eyeballs. Like, so when we're talking about like they didn't come out and try to win the game, like they've been doing it for 5 weeks. Like, this is nothing new. They come out flat. They stink. They're coasting. It's like you gotta have a major sense of urgency when you put shoulder pads and all that good shit on, you better have a sense of urgency, a head on a swivel, and you better have a want-to get dirty and physical. That's just the facts. So I can scheme you all day. I got the best designs in the country. If my guys aren't ready to play, we stink. That's what we've watched. I'm not saying the play call's been good. I'm saying what we've watched has been a lack of just want to and effort. So the only way you can agree, Greg goes like, the only way people can agree to this poll is if they think that effort just all of a sudden gonna light switch gonna turn on. And if that's how you're feeling, that's the only rational way you can think we can win this game. And back to firing Nick Sirianni, like can we all have a little field of room? Like I'm a big fire guy, right? I love firing cats, especially cool t-shirts. All right. What are we talking about? We've gone to 3 straight postseasons. I don't give a fuck. Excuse my language. Again, might bleep it. I don't give a rat's you know what how this game goes in terms of if he's back next year. One don't equal the other to me. You're in the postseason for the 3rd straight time. We will now you're on the hot seat. Now your seat's warm. So you find out.
And the other part of that, the other equation to that too, right? I don't think Jeffrey Lurie wants to be this guy who becomes trigger happy head coach wise, right? You had Andy Reid long term. Obviously, the Chip Kelly thing didn't work out. You ended up going to, Dougie P, who lasted as long as he did. But I don't think they want to just keep cycling out coaches every 3 or 4 years. Like that's not the sign of a winning organization. And Jeffrey Lurie is all about a winning organization and having a culture. And I just don't see it happening for a guy like you said, Tom, that made the playoffs and won multiple games for years in a row at this point. 3 straight playoff appearances. I expect coming from where we were at with a previous quarterback who looked like he lost it between the ears 5 minutes into every game. I just don't see it happening. Yeah. Not this year. Yeah, next year, short leash. Next year, new coaching staff. Let's see how they come out. Then we start to really look at that as an opportunity.
Yeah, I don't know how many teams are going around firing guys who go to the postseason.
Titans just did, and everyone's calling them a mistake, right?
I mean, we kind of did that
Vrabel
too.
Had 4 really good years.
We did that to an extent. I mean, both times with Andy, he did have the really bad year at the end, but then Peterson too. It's like the same thing.
A really bad year at the end.
Yeah, and the other thing is that
both of them had 4 wins their last season.
I don't believe that they will fire him. I really don't. But at the end of the day, like I'm seeing guys chew him out on the sideline to Hassan Reddick, Devontae, AJ Brown, and all that kind of stuff. And if the right guy's not at the helm, which do we know that? No, but I think that you're going to start to hear things once the season's over and no one's afraid to talk anymore. I think that you could see that. And if that's the case, then especially if they get embarrassed against Tampa Bay, a team that you're much better by, I don't know how you don't discuss it, at least. Just to be like, hey, we have all these guys here in a room at the same time. This team is better than a lot of teams that have won a lot of games. So if you want to move on and get better and, raise the bar, I don't see why you can't at least think about it. Just
are they that good though?
And who else is out there? Everyone's out there is already fired.
Forget that.
For exactly that, not winning.
And Mike Tomlin is a name that makes sense, but Mike Tomlin they made the playoffs. He's not getting fired. He has yet another winning season, and they made the playoffs. There's no way. As awful as that roster is, he squeezed every bit of juice out of that orange, and look at where they're at. There's no way Mike Tomlin's getting fired. So I don't want to hear about Pete Carroll, who I don't care what he did. When you look at the body of work and what he did there, honestly, it's not as impressive as people give him credit for. Yeah. So at this point, Mike Tomlin's the only name where you say, regardless of what Nick's done over the last 3 years, that dude is young enough. He has the right mentality. He has proven it time and time again with multiple Super Bowls.
That's Vrabel. That would be equivalent like to Vrabel for me. Like I like Tomlin better. Tomlin's my dude, but like I would move on for Nick for Mike Vrabel in a heartbeat. But that's just me. Right? Yeah, I like a former player that has shown to get the best out of guys. It's not his fault they've traded the world. You know what I mean? All what your GM gives you isn't on you.
Mm-hmm.
You can coach up what you get.
And that's why he's gone, because of the difference in philosophy.
Because he wants to win.
Yeah.
He ain't trying, like, his team's always overachieve. I'm a big
100%.
fan of coaches that teams overachieve. We did year one with Nick. Right?
Yeah.
Are we overachieving this year? Are we not as good as we thought we were?
Honestly, we might be, because let's be honest here. There's a lot of guys on this roster that have aged very quickly. We
Our
sit here
quarterback
and we
just turned the
say,
ball over again.
like,
so
to sit here and say, like, Luke, we are
Nobody
definitively
wants to
better
freaking
than Tampa
talk
Bay.
about everybody
I don't know that I could say that. I don't know that I could say that it's definitively better, because guys have looked very old. Brandon Graham looks very old this year. Fletcher Cox looks very old this year.
my quarterback looks old.
He doesn't look great. I mean, your skill players
He looks
are
horrible.
your skill players are your skill players, but Dallas got hurt again this year. You know, they didn't run the football right, so I don't know what to make as far as DeAndre Swift. But then I look at the line, like, Lane's starting to get beat off the end. He jumps on every play because he gets beat if he doesn't. Like, this team has gotten older. I don't know that this team is as deep talent-wise as we thought it was.
I think offensively it absolutely is. So I wouldn't even go there. I think I got a quarterback that doesn't step up in the pocket. He doesn't help his offensive line out with those types of things. They're the types of things you have to be able to do in this league. Everything's a roll out right. It's predictable. It's predictable. He's only going to throw from the right. He don't throw rolling left. He doesn't really roll left often. And when he does, he has no intent of throwing. That's weird to me. Like, that's just strange to me. I'm not. Luke, I know you don't want to agree with me, but that's strange to me. It's just a little. It's just me. That's strange. You can't throw left. I'll throw from the left side right now with a bad back. Right now. It's got a freaking car accident, and I'll roll out right now left side back. All right. So don't even everybody miss me. What I got a quarterback who can't roll out to the left and throw. What are we talking about?
No, you're
What are we
right.
talking
But he couldn't do that last year, and he was the best player on the field in the Super Bowl.
And
So
guess what
the way-
people do to you? Hold on. Guess what people do to you over?
Yeah, they
his career?
figure out. I got you. But I also think that, part of that, 100%, he deserves blame for that, no doubt about it. But I also think, like, where's the awareness on the coaching side of things to, one, tell him to work on it, because we know he's not lacking in the gym. And the second thing is also, how do I prevent that from happening? Because it happens way too often. And I also see things like tendencies in terms of, like, a identity to your team. There are tendencies that we have from a play calling perspective this year that I don't care who's at quarterback, who your offensive line is, what the hell's going on. You're not putting your team in success.
No.
You're just not. So, like,
And there's a lot, and here's the thing too. There's been a lot of questions and going around about Nick Sirianni's leadership as well. Like, now you hear AJ Brown saying, like, publicly, like, oh, he's great. He's got our backs and all that stuff. But there's also been rumblings behind the scenes as well that is he really effective leader, and is he really, like, capable of, like, taking the play calling away from Brian Johnson or whatever, like taking a hold of, like, if he has to call plays, on offense, or just, getting a hold of, like, like, in terms of, like, maybe the defense, or so to speak, like, just getting, like, more involved. And a lot of these reports are saying that he's not really involved, even though it looks like to me he's involved, but, who knows what's going on.
See, this is what happens too. These freaking dryer sheets also start looking for stuff. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he got a head coaching job because of his play calling abilities. So,
and then when he left that team very clearly struggled with any kind of a creativity in their offense. So he was clearly a key to what they had going there in Indy. And obviously Frank ended up seeing his way out after that.
yeah, we'll just see how it goes. Like, again, I'm not against, like, moving on from anybody. You know what I mean? After you get embarrassed, but I think we got to wait and see how this one goes. Like, instead of us talking about things that are being done in the neck or guys yelling, like, guys want to win. So, like, I don't get caught up in emotion. He's the head coach, right? So I'd rather you be yelling at the head coach than going after coordinators. So if he's yelling at the head coach because of coordinators, I actually like it more, right? But what I would like to see is I would like to see Jalen more involved on the offensive side and timeouts, right? Especially like when we don't have that like rhythm, right? Like get involved as a group. That's not frowned upon. Like that's actually good. So
to your point earlier too, right? Like not everything can be coaching this and coaching that, right? Jalen has to take some ownership in some of this because one of the, to me, the most concerning thing, and I know what you talked about, everybody talks about progression. The most concerning thing to me is that very clearly the defense knows the play that's coming, and he's not taking the opportunity to call an audible and change the play at the line. We're seeing that a lot, particularly these last 6 games where these quote-unquote design runs, they ran the same play twice in a row, and he didn't audible out of it. He didn't change the play at the line and ran right into the offense or the defensive line for a loss. And that's the kind of things that I'm a little bit concerned about because he did do that stuff last year, and he's not doing that this year. And whether you want to talk about certain things where he did a little bit of that last year, he's not doing any of that this year.
No, he didn't do really much of it. They just ran RPOs all day.
Right. But I'm saying, but there were times where he would change plays a lot. He doesn't change the play at the line at all. And it's very, very, very clear. And his recognition of the RPO has been very questionable this year too. When to hand the ball up, when to run the football, and when to pass the football. It's been very, very questionable this year.
He's been questionable.
Where did the RPO go? I don't remember the last time I've seen maybe a few times on like 3rd and short where they run Goddard in motion the other way. I've seen that like a few times. I feel like we ran that with him and AJ like 50 times of all of last season. It was unbelievable. But I do think the most interesting part to the play calling, like that's the most interesting part is play calling. The fact that he hasn't taken it back. Because if you remember way back in the beginning of the season, right around this week, Tampa Bay, the most consistent part of our team was our defense. And yeah, the wheels fell off. But from week 1, pretty much outside of a few weeks, the problem has always been offensively. So the first change you make as a head coach isn't to take accountability into your own hands with the group that stunk all year, but you flip to the other side of the ball, which, yes, was horrendous too. But I question why you went that side of the ball first rather than saying, I need to take play calling back because this hasn't changed for 15 weeks. I don't get how that doesn't happen.
No, I couldn't agree more with that. Like, you know what I mean? This is my ship. So I'm the captain.
Yeah.
Something's not working. I got to get my hands dirty, especially for something that got me a job. Right? And I agree with Andre. Like, I just want Jalen to get his shit together. Like, I'm not trying to crush Jalen at all. Like, I would love for him to get his shit together. I said that's what franchise quarterbacks do in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They light switch you. Light switch me. That's why I started the show saying, need a light switch. Love for you to turn it on because there is other problems for sure. But when your quarterback's not playing well, that's problem number uno. Like, play calling has nothing to do with the amount of turnovers, right, this year. Like, maybe a little bit, but come on, you turn the ball, we turn the ball over, right? And like, well, step up in the pocket, Jalen. That's the stuff he's not doing. And everybody's like, well, you can't. Like one guy in the comment, Josh, you can't step up in the pocket. What are you talking about? I've watched so many plays where he can step up in the pocket. Yeah, I've watched so many plays where he's panicked. Like, it's okay, guys. He hasn't played well. We had this conversation Sunday. Like, we're allowed to say it. It's okay. I don't know why people in the chat are scared to say it. Like, it's everybody else's goddamn fault. Why is it always somebody else?
He's not going anywhere.
Like, nobody's getting rid of him. Like, goodness gracious. I can say other players aren't playing well, and that's cool. We can say Jason Kelsey or Lane Johnson, who are way more accomplished in their careers, might not be playing at a level, right? Hypothetically. But we can't say our quarterback isn't? Who's the highest paid player on our team?
Joel Embiid. Embiid is like a generational freaking player in the league. It's okay for people to run him down. And he hasn't, I mean, no offense, I love him, but he hasn't done anything playoff-wise.
Josh, you're talking about scheme has nothing to, he's got show ponies to throw the football to. What are you talking about? Josh, when have you seen him throw with rhythm like consistently this year, like he did with last year? When have you seen those timing throws? How many times does he throw a guy open?
Step up in the pocket.
How many times does he throw guys open? I don't think some of you understand what it means to be a quarterback in the National Football League. This ain't freaking goddamn. This ain't somebody's high school, right? Friday Night Lights shit. Do we know what it takes? Jalen's got a lot of potential. A lot of potential. And I think his mental makeup even gives him a little bit more. But don't sit here and try to sell me on what my eyes have watched the last 6 weeks. Nobody do that to me. Nobody do that to me. That's an insult for not you, Josh, in general. It's an insult to tell people what they've watched over 6 weeks is somebody else's fault and it has nothing to do with it. That's an insult to me. Don't tell me he can't step up in the pocket when I've watched plays. The reason Brian Johnson still has a goddamn job and he's still calling plays is because the tape shows guys are open. Why can't you guys comprehend this? Why is this hard? Goodness gracious. You think that he's got a job for some other reason? Luke, to your point, do you think Nick hasn't rushed to take it over because there's nothing to take over?
That's a fair point.
We don't look at it that way.
Mm-hmm.
There's something missing. There's something not clicking rhythm-wise, like that was clicking last year with Jalen and his guys. It just hasn't. He doesn't have a feel. You can watch him in the pocket. When does he look like? When have you felt that confident throw? I'm not saying he hasn't made any this year because he's had 4 game-winning drives, right? So he's had some moments. We're talking over the last 6 weeks. For goodness gracious, the last 6 weeks, when have we saw rhythm? When have we saw timing? When have we said,
wow,
that's my dude? Look at my dude.
To your point.
Tush push. Tush push. And Grace still got to answer the poll. Goodness gracious. We're just, get him in an hour.
Real quick, to your point, right? The thing is, their teams are blitzing him more because they're trying to flush him out of the pocket because he's obviously he's not as good of a quarterback when he's making quarterback plays on the run, right? So they don't want him stepping up into the pocket, and he's not recognizing his opportunities there, which again is now creating the issue of they're forcing him to get rid of the football quicker when players are getting wide open because he's doing one checks and he's not stepping up into the pocket. He's allowing himself to be flushed out and have one read to look at, and that's the problem. He's not giving himself an opportunity. We don't really know if he can see a second or a third read, one of the criticisms, because he doesn't make the play to step into the pocket and create the extra second or 2 seconds that he needs to look at the second or third option. And that's where it's so frustrating is we don't know if he's good at reading his checkdowns and going through his progressions because, to your point, he's not stepping up and doing anything to give him those extra seconds. He's basically rolling out and following his first look. And if they're not there, he's either taking off, he's sliding, or he's running out of bounds, or he's throwing the ball away. And you're right. That's why Brian Johnson still has a job. That's a 1,000% right, Tom, because when you go back, and we have Chuck's our video guy here, watches a million videos. The offense always has receivers open, and it's never where he's looking. They know to stop the first read. So because then they know they're good then. They don't really have to. They put most of the defense over on the side of the field wherever the number 1 receiver is.
You think AJ's not talking for a reason when he wasn't talking? We don't ever take steps back. We just assume he ain't talking because of everything else. That's his best friend. You think they don't watch tape together? They didn't just play together? And do you think he's not getting it done and he feels open? He ain't going to come on here and come out there and start ranting about his quarterback. Shows you, one, maturity and their relationship. We don't talk about that enough. We act like he's a bad teammate. Knock that off because he's not a bad teammate. Because if he was a bad teammate, he'd be saying what I've been saying about Jalen for the last 5 weeks. If he was a bad teammate. Why do you think he's been like this every week? There's
and when
factors.
And when he did talk, he explains very quickly that it was their fault, right? And then when you go back and watch the film, as it was all over Twitter, right? You see exactly what he's talking about. So when he
Who's
did
that
talk,
on?
he didn't want to throw his whole team under the bus, but he didn't.
You don't have to throw his whole team because it's one guy.
It was one guy, especially when you go back and watch the plays he's talking about. It was one guy.
And what's his relationship to him outside of football?
Yeah, probably not much.
No, it is. That's AJ and Jalen.
No, it wasn't even Jalen. It was on the QB draws, and now a couple of guys missed blocks. And if they hit the block, he's running.
No, I get that, but he's
again, but it all goes back to kind of what this whole conversation is about. Is the play was there, it just wasn't executed properly, right? There's a reason why.
Guys, yeah.
There's a reason why Brian Johnson, for whatever reason, is a head coaching candidate. You know what I mean?
Because guys are open.
This league runs through coaches. Circle
back
there. We don't run through coaches.
There's always different factors, right, Greg?
Sure.
It's never one. It's like a missed block or this or that. But then there's the part of it that, like I said, AJ's not going to go running around calling Jalen out.
No.
Especially if Jalen ain't playing up to his level. We know that, right? Because of their relationship. They probably do those things behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, Lamar, the knee injury for Jalen, it's never really been like let out of the closet. It's in like Howie's closet, the NovaCare, right? He's like, I'm gonna put this in here instead.
Howie,
so
can you go back to?
Yeah, like I don't know. We never found out what that is, and that could mess you up, of course.
Yeah.
Right. There's no question in that. So I won't. Again, not this isn't a Jalen roast. This is Jalen facts, and the facts are we need our franchise quarterback to play his best football on Monday night. That's all, right? You can't control what everybody else does. You understand? You can control the controllables. So you can control how you play. And with the guy with the ball in his hands the most, I would love for you to be in rhythm. I would love for you to have your best game of the year, right? That's what I'm hoping for. I'm really hoping for it because that's going to tell us a lot. Luke, Blake, Chrome, Greg, everybody out there, it's going to tell us everything we need to know. It's not going to tell you he stinks if he doesn't play well, right? It's going to be like, oh, next year's an interesting year, right? Next year becomes interesting for everybody involved, right? You're not getting rid of him this year, obviously. And you probably won't get rid of him the following year, but you start to have questions if it doesn't change. But it'd be great for him to come out and have that ability that we all think he has, right? I don't want to speak for everybody, but I feel like we all feel like he has that, like, bright lights. I'm going to go play my best football.
Oh, he definitely has that.
Can we all agree? If he could, I think we've had mostly disagrees, and then Blake agrees, and we'll see where Greg stands in a minute. But like we all can agree, if he plays his best football, we win.
Game's a wrap.
We win. And that's not like it's not a one versus one person type of game. It's obviously 11 versus 11, right? But I know one thing in this, like if your quarterback's on fire and feeling it, you're in pretty good shape. Pretty good shape, boys. So, Greg, please, how about that? Right, Martian? Julio caught 2 TDs in the Cardinals game. And he goes, I know AJ was big man somewhere. He wasn't even mad. He's just like, dude, first off, where's mine? And how do we lose that game where Julio catches 2 TDs and we still lose? Like, that's actually harder to do.
Can you
Todd Bowles is blitzing right now. Todd blitzing right now. I mean, they are coming after him. And Martian, yeah, can we get a check down one time? My dad texted me the other day, and that time I think he only know he knows what he's talking about, but sometimes I'm like, relax. But he's like, they haven't ran a screen in like 10 weeks. And I said, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that.
I was just going to say, modern day NFL passing offenses are checkdowns and motion. And I saw just after.
And where else in the field, Luke? Where else in the field the teams want to attack?
Oh, no, yeah.
I'm saying, like, what part of the field?
Middle of the field.
Middle of the field. Where's our quarterback struggle with?
No, I'm with you 100%. I'm with you 100% that he needs to be way better. But in terms of, like, why do you think they attack the middle of the field? I think motion has a lot to do with that. That miscommunication, things like I'm not trying to hear and just jerk Jalen the whole time. I'm just trying to play.
No, you're right, though. You're right. Like, How can I help my quarterback out? Well, 101 again. We're going to circle back to 101. I put a guy in motion, and I see what the defense does. So if nobody moves, I got zone.
Yeah,
if somebody follows most of the time, I got man. So now I'm putting my quarterback in a situation where he automatically knows if it's man or zone.
We run the
same thing with the RPO, right?
Yeah, we run the least amount of motion in the entire NFL.
That's weird to me. That's weird.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what now I question what Brian Johnson does behind closed doors.
That's
you know what I mean?
why I bring it up. Yeah.
But listen, this is a 2 to tango, Luke. For the history of football. For the history of football, the quarterback and the head coach are always they're tied at the hip. Doesn't mean they both get fired. It just means your success. If you hit home runs on both and they click, your window of 4 years turns into 8. That's what we're hoping for. You're right. That's who we're praying to this week. That those two can come together and coach your best game and him play his best game. Because when Andy and Mahomes do that, they've won a lot of football games, regardless of the rest around. Now, you also can't have a defense on the field for 70 plays or 92. So, like, those types of things don't have nothing to do with the offense. That's a defense that's downright atrocious. Okay, so that's a whole nother factor in the win in this football game. I mean, there's so much. Nobody's roasting them, Con, but what do you want to do? You want us to come on here and just never say anything. Like, when you talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, make sure first thing you do, first rule of Eagles football is you don't talk about Jalen Hurts. First rule. Like, what? What? How many weeks do I have to say this? Donovan was my dude. That dude got smoked around here. Are you kidding me? You see Jalen's looked on the sideline when he's like that, sitting down? You see, who else say it?
Donovan would have ran out of town.
I don't really care that much for it. I don't care enough to criticize it, right? It's like I don't look at your face, and that tells me if you're ready to play football. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Donovan got smoked for body language, Greg.
100%. They tried to smoke. They tried to do anything to smoke Donovan.
And I'm not even smoking Jalen. I'm telling you.
This is just real talk.
I told a guy today, if I know the guy himself holds himself to a high standard and this ain't it, why on shows can I not say he's not playing up to his standard? Why is that in any way taken out of context? And if you think he has, you're a goddamn moron. You're an idiot. You're a poster boy. You're a pom-pommer. You're a lotioner, right? You're a massager, like for Deshaun. That's who you are for Jalen. That's who you are. If you can't sit here and say he has not played good enough and up to his standard, then that's what you are. That's what you are, Cotton Ball. That's what you are, babe. So get the lotion up. I don't care. You want to talk about last year? Last year was cool. That was an awesome run. He's been to the playoffs 3 straight times. He deserves credit for that. But if he comes out and plays like shit Monday night, that ain't okay. That's not okay. Why is that not okay to say? We're going to ain't got to do with you. You come out playing the way you want to, man. It's on everybody else to win the game. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? The most important position in pro sports. Tom Brady, that was all Bill. Like, what are we talking about? Greatness makes everybody look better. The history of sports. Sixers, hey, remember what Sixers last 3 nights? Last 3 times they played? Does greatness make them better? Does greatness cover up your warts? Miss me with anything else.
Listen,
I can do this all night. I can do it all night.
I hate to go back to this. But Carson Wentz, year 2 gets you to the Super Bowl, pretty much.
I don't want to do this. Don't do this.
But I'm going to do it.
Don't do it. It's no need. It's over. It's over.
Specifically to that one comment, though. Year 3 gets to a Super Bowl, knee injury, blah, blah, blah. Carson got smoked by the end of year 3, and he had already had a Super Bowl ring And I don't care that he wasn't the one that ran through the Super Bowl. He got you 11-2 and a home field advantage on that to set up Nick Foles for the greatest 10 quarters that any quarterback may have ever had in NFL history. So, but he got smoked for it by the end of year 3 when you were still a playoff team. And it was okay to criticize him. And I agree it was okay to criticize because clearly he was losing in between here. So why can't we state the obvious of what is actually going on for a guy who is probably harder on himself than we are on him?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
That's what I said to my buddy, like a guy, in the facility today. I was like, if he's hard on himself, why am I not allowed to be? Like, what? We thrive on, like, I clamor to guys in today's world of athletes that are hard on themselves, right? That want more, to strive to be better, right? It's like when you do lessons, like you're clamoring for dudes like that are just soakers, right? And they just want to just get better. Like, that's all you want. And if they're not having the type of performance they expect, then they're not happy with themselves, right? And that's what you want from competitors. That's what makes you a competitor. For the history of any sport, like the gladiators, right? Back in Roman times, you're the Colosseum. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the competitiveness, that's what from the day one of sports. But right now, like, again, nothing to do with cars. You find out Monday night a lot more about our guy. That's all. And it doesn't define his legacy. Make sense? Like, it doesn't define your legacy unless you just keep going and winning. But if you lose, it's not like, oh God, you're not good enough, we're out on you,
right,
time to find somebody else. No, now it means, hey, I need to see improvement next year. Now I need to see more consistency.
People in this city pick and choose who they want to criticize, right? More recency. All right, take Carson Wentz out. Ben Simmons. God forbid any of us said anything about Ben Simmons on the air here, stating the obvious, and we got crushed for it because everybody was an apologist his first couple of years. More than his first couple of years. Even after passing up on the layup, we heard that shit for a year, right?
It's not his fault.
Stating the obvious. And look at what that became, because everybody rolled a red carpet out to him, because everybody gave him a pass. The results on the court, or lack thereof, because he wouldn't get on the court, proved why you need to be critical, why you need to state the obvious. And these guys need to hear what they need to work on. It doesn't mean they're not good players. It means we believe in them and we see greatness in them. And if they can work on those things, they can achieve that greatness. If I don't give a shit who you are, I'm not going to care what you don't work on. I'm not going to give a shit what I'm not seeing on the field, because you'll play yourself out of the lineup at some point. But if I'm criticizing you and I'm criticizing you week in and week out, it's because I know you can be great. But if I see something that is keeping you from that greatness, you need to hear about it. And that's why Jalen Hurts is a baller, because he loves to hear this stuff, because it does motivate him, because he gets out there on the field, in the gym, and he works on it. So all these clowns in the chat who are sitting here saying, why are you saying this and why are you saying that, and you're not giving the kid a break, this is not what we do here. It is our job to point out the obvious, to have a discussion about it, and to hopefully the kid hears some of this and gets motivated and wants to work on it, because he has greatness in him. And if you guys want to sit there and give out dry handies or lotion up, either or, whatever your preference is, because you're not a real fan for doing it, that's your choice. But real fandom is calling out the obvious and trying to push your players for greatness. That's what makes Philadelphia so great and what makes their fan base so great. It is a blessing and a curse, because you have those people who will go out and boo a lackluster effort out there. But on the other end, you'll have these jerk-offs in here who are afraid to criticize and try to call you out and say that you are not being fair to somebody. You can't have it both ways. Do you want to push your players to be better in this city, to be great players? Do you want to push your quarterback to get you 2 Super Bowls? Or are you okay with the one you got last year and you're going to lotion him up the rest of the way, as Tom said? Time's yours, guys.
Crum, every lesson that I do, at least a couple times throughout them, right? You're like, hey, I'm critiquing what you're doing. It's not negative, right? Like, it's one, it's my job to do it, and it's two, I care. I care about your success. So if I don't point out something that I see, right, I'm not helping you, right? Because you always want to remind especially a younger athlete, that like, hey, this is what we do here, right? Like this is what this is all about. We're oil change all day. What's under the hood? We good, right? So like it's the same thing for a professional athlete, where like I need to be told if I'm not developing in some way, right, at my craft. That's how I get better. That's how I get better. Greg, you want to answer this poll? I've never had to go to the bathroom more in my life, and I've been holding on for dear life. So, Greg, please.
Got to be the bad back.
I might not even get up the stairs, so I don't know how long. But I will be right back. So.
That's why you need a urinal downstairs, bud.
Yeah, just bring a bottle down at this point.
Josh said I started a fire tonight. Sorry. It's just, because I love Luke. I love Luke to death. But Luke just wants to. I can see what Luke's doing here, right? I can smell it. That it's like, well, the design has created this entire mess, which is just like so. Part of it's true, but it's so weird because it's like the same. Like it's supposed to be the same offense. You guys are all under.
I agree.
You guys are all under the same tree. What are we
I
doing?
agree with what you're saying. I'm just trying to stress the fact that there's, like you said, it takes two to tango. I'm just saying the other side. That's all.
Oh, the offensive play calling is atrocious.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that because a lot of times, you hop on one of these and you crush one player the whole time. It sounds like you hate him. So.
Yeah, and I want to get away from him because I want to preview the game and I want to get into some of the nuts and bolts.
It doesn't happen.
What?
We crush one player.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
People think we hate him.
Yeah.
That never happens here.
I crush Bryce Harper all the time. Right, Greg? Like nobody's harder on Bryce Harper than me. And I love Bryce because he's a Philly, right? But I hated him in Washington, obviously. But now he's my dude. But if he like does something stupid, I'm like, what are you doing, bro? You're freaking 10-year vet. What are you run? Like, where are you going? Like, where are you running to?
I'm a Bryce poster guy, and I'll say the same thing.
Oh, you are. I mean, poster? Goodness gracious. You got the blow up.
Yeah. I didn't want to announce it, but yeah, go ahead. Throw all the dirt out now.
You got the Bryce blow up. You can just squeeze him.
He got his no, we're not going there. To the poll though. I agree to the poll. I think we do win. And sadly, I think it's sadly not for me, but sadly for everything that we watched the last 6 weeks, I think it's pretty convincing. And there's no basis to this other than you just look at what our team has been the last few years, right? Kind of like this whole discussion that we've been having, right? It all kind of ties in, obviously. But you look around the room, the leadership that we have, the show ponies we have on the offensive side. All it takes is one game at this point, right? This is the season now. We're in the playoffs. All you got to do is win one game. There's no who you preparing for next week. There's no who you looking at next week, right? It's win or go home. And I'm going to put my leaders that I think we have, and over the last 3 years have shown what we have in this locker room, and I'll put them up against this Bucs team. And I'll go to war with that, with a confidence behind those guys. Because as we've said, I think, Luke, you said it earlier, right? Our defense in the beginning part of the year showed that they could stop people, right? At minimum at halftime, right? There's been, 2 or 3, maybe 4 goose egg second halves from our defense after the adjustment's been made.
Yep.
And at some point during this season, you could confidently sit there and say that our defense could stop the run. Right? All of that has now been thrown out the window. But I want to believe in this team, and I want to believe in this coaching staff that whatever was working before, where we were all giving them passes because they were winning, now we are in that time where truly winning the game is all that matters. I'm putting my confidence in that group putting themselves in the best position to win this game. And that's really the basis, because what you guys have all said and disagreeing is nowhere near wrong. right? Everybody, it's weird for me to be on this side and all of you guys to be on that side, right? Normally, I'm that negative Nancy, right? Normally, I'm that guy that's like, oh, Bucks are plus home dogs. The Bucks are home dogs. Pound that, right? You know what I mean? Pound that. Let's go. But you can't throw away what we did watch earlier this season. You can't throw, and I know it was last year, but a lot of the team, and especially a lot of the veterans and the leaders of this team are back from what that team was last year, right? You can't throw away what those teams have accomplished, even though it's easy to. Even though it's easy to, because our eyeballs don't lie to us. Our eyeballs say it is bad. It's drac. But I think this week, in a new season where it's truly one game at a time, I think they come together and they handle business.
Yeah, no, it's you would hope, Greg, and to your point, that's a great way to word it, as in what they showed us earlier in the year was, as long as you have more points than the other team at the end of the 60 minutes, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So
and that's all that should matter.
And that's all we need them to be, right? We don't need them to be last year's Super Bowl team at this point. We just need them to be better on Monday, this case. I was going to say on Sunday. We need them to be better in this case Monday than the other team is. And that, particularly on the other side of the field. Side note, that might be a record, an hour and 3 minutes in before a poll question got answered by somebody, Greg.
Yep.
So that's that. I don't think that record's ever getting.
Well, I went last because I assumed I was going to be the only agree. and Blake started off on the right foot, and then he threw that curveball and came back and agreed. So that's why I decided to go last, because I wanted you crybabies. No, I'm kidding. I wanted you negative Nancy's to get all yours in, but because I figured I'd be the only agree, so I figured I'd bring up the rear and inject some positivity back into this group.
Yeah, I mean, again, I have hope. I think Wilson commented in that he's holding on to that last little strand that maybe
and that's all we can do, right? Yeah.
This was like a ploy the whole time to just lay low until the playoffs.
I want to. Every time I hear that come up with Ocho, I want to find out where that is, because and I'm not saying the clip's everywhere. I'm just saying where that hope is. I'm like, because in my head, I'm like, all right, if you win the division and lock up the division, then go ahead and be a limp sock, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
But don't be a limp sock for 6 weeks and then expect us to believe that.
I know.
Yeah,
it's really.
No, I was just gonna say, and as much as I don't want you guys thinking I don't think they can, I'm trying to be a negative Nancy or any of that. It's just that I'm just basing on what I'm seeing, and
you're not wrong though.
And look, I think they can win next week, but is winning next week really going to solve a lot of the problems that's going on right now?
Winning solves everything.
Yeah,
all this conversation that we're having, right? Especially when you talk about the drama around AJ Brown, right? All this comes out when you lose. None of this stuff comes out when you win. We saw the first 11, 12 weeks of the season. It didn't. It seemed like everything inside that locker room was, raindrops and BJs. Raindrops and BJs. Rainbows and BJs, right? But all this stuff has been going on, right? Our play calling hasn't been great all year. But when you win the game, how much are you going to kill a guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the only reason we're hearing all this now is because we're not winning, and that's fair.
All I'm saying is that if they pull it off, they can win this week, but then they come back and get smoked the following week, and then we're right back having this conversation again.
But we're not. I don't think we are. I mean, you come off of the Super Bowl and you make it to the second round of the playoffs.
That's not a bad year. Yeah, it's not a bad year.
Not many teams do that. Kansas City might not do that.
This isn't the NBA where the same team, the same four teams, make it to the conference finals almost every year. It's a different sport, and with the grind that football is, adding in another game too the last couple of seasons that mean more. Guys like we talked about Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis a couple weeks ago about how they've played more snaps than they've ever played before, and with the age that we brought up earlier on this team. These guys have older legs going for more extended seasons at this point. Like, it's just one of those situations where when you come in off a Super Bowl year the way that they played last year, there's nothing to hang your head about when you get past any round of the playoffs, any round. So I think that, that's an opportunity for them. And I think we would look at that as a success, particularly with how the season ended. If they manage to still get a playoff win, that's a success.
I mean,
I can't disagree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, can you be concerned that yes, we started out 11-1, right, or 10-1, and we ended up 11-6? Yeah, that you could talk about that fall from grace, but ultimately, if you win a playoff game coming back after a Super Bowl loss, that's got to be a successful season, and that's got to count for something.
And Tom brought this up. Tom brought this up last week, I believe, too. Kansas City's not setting the world on fire this year at all. And I know that they've lost a couple of weapons, but nothing huge, nothing groundbreaking, right? They just
to that point. That's their fault, though. You know what I mean? Like they decided to to do all that. But to your point, yes.
Again, it's the two teams. I don't think it's a coincidence that the two teams that went the furthest last year in a season where the season was extended an extra game, that those teams are looking, as the season went on, they looked much more tired. And they looked like they were losing some of their legs, and they were having guys get hurt. I mean, Travis Kelce hasn't had the year this year that he had last year. He started off great, but look at how he ended the season. Tired legs, it looks
putting
like.
That P on a pedestal.
And it's a lot of, well, yeah. I mean, listen, I wasn't trying to bring that name up. There's only one.
I didn't bring the name up. I
know. There's only one Kelce and Swift duo we talk about here on our airwaves.
See what happens when you put the P on a pedestal.
Put the P on a pedestal. You got those older legs now. You got the podcast going. He's got a lot. He's got his hands in a lot of cookie jars right now, and we're talking like cookies. Okay, so I don't think that there's a coincidence to that either. So,
Greg, I assume you agreed.
I did agree.
Yeah,
I did agree.
All right, so 3-2.
Yeah.
It's not as crazy as I thought it would be.
I agreed, but I'm still saying no to every ticket request I get, right? Like, even though they're down the street and I can go see them, I'm still not wasting my time or money. You know what I mean? So
yeah, on the other side, we're going to talk about how they can win, right?
Yeah.
We're going to switch this conversation up a little bit. We're going to be a little bit more positive, okay? We're going to flip the script ourselves for playoff time. Find a way to be positive. Let's find a way to see how they can win this football game right after a commercial break. A2D Wednesday nights, only on A2D Radio. Segment was brought to you by our doc, make them yours, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, locations in Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. If I can find the commercial, we can go to it. Here we go.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, proudly celebrating 40 years and our new, bigger showroom.
Twice the size and twice the fun.
More pool tables by Olhausen. More dartboard sets, including custom reclaimed backboards. More bar and kitchen stools that can change a room.
And more bars, including pre-built and custom.
Hot tubs, skee ball, shuffleboard, outdoor,
and fun.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, your ultimate game room store. Now located on Bethlehem Pike.
In our family, food is our daily bond. My nonna, affectionately called Mama by many, found solace and joy in the kitchen, sharing her love through delicious creations. She turned her culinary passion into a flourishing business alongside her husband and sons in 1983. Celebrating 40 years is a testament to our exceptional team, friends, family, and beloved customers. With gratitude, we look forward to the future, expanding our brand to share the highest quality Italian food and wine nationwide. Our heartfelt thanks to everyone who has played a part in our story. Grazie mille.
Hats.com is the premier destination for quality and fashion-forward hats and more, with designs for every style and trend. Locally based and run by Philly sports team fanatics, Hats.com can help you elevate your hat john. Utilize the easy-to-use guides at Hats.com to find your perfect size and style, and shipping and returns are free. Hats.com. Find yourself in a hat. Use code Philly for 15% off your order. Hats.com.
Let's go. Welcome back, everybody. A2D Wednesday nights. Talking Eagles. Playoff time. Wild card round. How can we advance? How can we find a way to just give us another week? Right? Something I do every postseason. Give us another week. Or, Sixers, give us another round to watch. Phillies, give us another series, right? You beg for those things. So how the Eagles are going to find the way to win is brought to you by Gleason's Bar, located at 6700 Mill Creek Avenue, Levittown, PA. Use promo code A2D for 10% off your order. Whenever you dine in, take out, or online, Gleason'sBarandSteaks.com is where you can find them. You got to get the Trenton in you, baby. That's all I'll say. You got to get the Trenton in you. All right. So, prediction time. Find the way to win time. We'll start with find the way to win time, right? And, if you're expecting like a heavy blitz, like you're going to probably expect from Todd Bowles' defense, now you have to have designs to be able to beat the blitz, right? So if it's good, we got to get a couple screen passes, a couple quick hitters, right? A couple breakdowns on defense. Because our biggest thing is we haven't scored either recently. We haven't been putting on many points. So, but I all think it starts with us being able to consistently run the football and not feel like we have to get away from it. And that's something we did a lot of this entire year, where we'll have like a 14-yard run and then we'll want to go throw it the next play. When it's like, come on, dude. It's just like, I understand it's missionary to go put it back in the belly, but just put it back in the belly. It just worked.
Until they stop it, right?
Now, Chad Ochocinco, or formerly known as Chad Johnson, which is a lot easier. But Chad, who I like Chad, thinks the Eagles are almost playing coy. Which you can make a case for in our argument if we're a defense attorney for the Eagles, right? Where we are. This is what we're doing tonight, okay? For your prediction, we become defense attorneys for the Eagles. So if I'm a defense attorney, I could say, well, the play calling looked like it got worse. How's that happen? I feel like we just kept running the same plays, right? I feel like we rotated through 4 plays like Tecmo. Like, what do we do? So, and then the players just seem like after they clinch, like almost just we're just here. You know what I mean? We're just gonna get through it. We're just gonna suit up and win. That happens in sports at every level. Guys think they can just show up, right? You just show up to work, you show up to practice, right? And you think, all right, I'll show up to the game and we're going to go do what we've done all year. I think I got away from them as players a little bit, right? So I wouldn't even say it was on purpose, more so than players aren't really giving it all, it seems like at times. And then it also seems like we're running the same 4 plays. So, like, coaching-wise, are we going through the motions because we don't want to show too much? And we thought we had an easy schedule and we could win these games late? Like, could that be something? Sure. Right? But then you're telling me that, like, then, I don't want to be the other attorney, but then you're telling me that, you didn't want the 2 seed. The 2 seeds didn't matter to you. So maybe they didn't want to play at home. Maybe they would rather go on the road. Who knows? Like, I don't know.
Where a team's struggling, you might be right, Tommy, right? To get away from the pressure, get away from the spotlight of being at home, right? Because we see teams do that a lot throughout sports, right? They're better on the road, especially in these high-pressure situations when you're struggling. We talk about the other sports where they have, designed road trips, right? What do you hope for a struggling team? Sometimes, or a young team per se, right? Sometimes those road trips early in the season are beneficial because there's no pressure, right? The guys are all around each other. And again, football is different because it's 1 game a week. But it's still, I think that pressure aspect of playing at home when you're struggling is huge.
Oh, absolutely. It is. Like, sometimes you can go off of that momentum, right? And it works for you, and sometimes it doesn't. Jay said he's thinking they aren't showing anything. And again, I mean, like, I don't think it's like a tank, right? Like, oh, we're trying to lose on purpose. Like, so like that's that argument, right? Like, hey, we're just not trying to show a lot. We got a lot sitting in the kitty that we'll show because we know what matters now. Like, okay, if we have to play 3 games, we have to play 3 games. Like, whatever, we're not getting the 1. Like after San Fran, because you can make the case after San Fran literally bent us over. That was the game we were trying to win,
Right?
Obviously. Now after that, again, you're still trying to win, but you could make the case that it got really stale and vanilla. You could. So, like, as a defense attorney for the Eagles that I am right now, I can make that case. But, like, that's one way you can say.
And even if you want to combine those 2 games, Tommy, San Fran and Dallas, right? You had San Fran at home, Dallas on the road. Those 2 go AWire, right? You weren't able to come back after, because we got to remember what emotional high we would imagine that they were on coming through that gauntlet, right? And that overtime win against Buffalo.
Yeah.
And then you got to turn around and play a juggernaut San Fran team who, totally bent you over. And then you try and recover, and then you go lose a division game at Dallas, right? So
yeah,
it's definitely something, all right, it's going to be a tough road. But
Josh asked, Greg. Well, I mean, Josh, I love comments, right? I love the family. 30% sold on the idea. So where would you be sold as I just presented you Ocho Cinco's defense attorney for the Eagles argument? How sold are you on that argument? The heck is going on around here? Luke's like frozen in his eyeball. You know what I mean? Luke's like when I got hit by the car tonight. You know what I mean?
I'm sold. I'm trying to find ways to get
household. Not like household. What's your percent?
73.
73. Such a weird.
Because I had him. Obviously, I agreed to the poll, so I had him winning, right? Yeah. I can't get all the way there though, right? Because I'm with you. I love Ocho. So every time I've heard it, I've been like trying to run into my head. How do we get there? How do we get there? Like, how is there not a glimpse over the last 6 weeks of any good play? Right? Like, there hasn't been a glimpse of any good play.
We run a great slant. That always open and he fumbles. Right? It's like, oh my God! Like nothing goes our way.
Yeah, if you're pulling from straws, you could be like, oh, Julio Jones had 2 TDs, right? But we lost. So I'm there though, just because as I mentioned, I just believe in this team that what we saw early in the year can return for one game.
Okay.
Right. So that's where I'm good with the possum, right? So that's where I'm 72% there because the other side of the eyeball still can't get back those 6 games.
Yeah, for sure. And that's, again, as a defense attorney, that's a good argument. Right? The argument is, hey, I've seen this team tough. I've seen this team resilient. I've seen this team win tight games. I've seen them get up for the moment, right? They can do it again. Right? And as a defense attorney, like, on the other side, right? I could say, you could say, okay, I can agree with that if I'm an outsider. Like, I can agree with that. Like, they've shown their toughness. They got away from it, obviously, right, guys? But can you just turn the lights on in the room? Like, that's it. I mean, do you have that ability? Does this roster have that switch? Like, some do, right? Some have the ability to rise to the occasion, and you're like, holy crap, where'd they come from? You know what I mean? Like, where'd you come from? Good to have you. So, again, I'm not like, the more we're talking about it, the more like the argument feels natural to make, right? The argument doesn't feel, not the Coley part, just that this team has proven they're tough over the last year, 2 years, right? They've proven they're tough. So, you can believe they can go to Tampa and turn it on again. Crumb, where are you at on the percentage? And then Blake, tell us where you're at too. And the family, let us know.
You guys make a few compelling arguments that sway me because I would have been at like a 5%er. So I'm going to go
dinner for 2,
I'll
Martian.
bump it up.
Dinner for 2, baby.
I'll bump it up to about a 25%. I mean, I definitely think that there's bullets left in the chamber that they haven't exactly put out there. And I think that there is, it's a fair point to make, Tom. Now, I do think they tried to win that Seattle game and Bradbury just got torched the whole way down the
field. Yeah, it's a different idea.
I mean, that's one of those games where I felt like they showed that resiliency down the stretch to try to come and win the game. And one guy just got absolutely scorched the entire way down the field.
And the defense isn't playing real quick. Like Matt Patricia, in terms of them, you can't make the argument of any coy. You make the argument as a defense attorney for the Eagles. You're saying, hey, it's a different scheme in a way. We're doing some different things, and we're just not in sync with each other right now. That's what that is. That's why you don't go firing coordinators. Hence why I said I'm not firing Jonathan Gannon last year, even though I could do without him, right? Is you don't do that mid-year. Like on defense, like offense, whatever, right? Because it's going to be a similar like style per se, but you went to a completely like different mind of a coordinator, right? Like that wasn't like the same tree. Like the Cy and Patricia are on the same damn tree. So they run a different style. So now you have new players, which they have, right? And then you have a different style. Like not easy. So defensively, they've just been egregious, right? They just haven't been good enough. Offensively is where, as then again, defense attorney, you're making the case like, hey, they're going to get more comfortable with Patricia, right? And this week they're going to clean things up. That's the defense attorney for the defense.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I would hope.
Slay, Fletch,
Cunningham.
I mean, like again, Slay's the best of that group, and Fletcher's right there because obviously our front. And you guys go, but we'll talk about this as we continue into this football game here. You know
I mean, the one thing that gives me a little bit of hope, and again, I think I brought this up last week, but I really looked at the numbers and talk about teams.
It's nice that nobody needs to be in one spot on camera, you know.
I brought this up last week, but I looked at it a little bit over the past week too. When you look at the 2011 Giants that won the championship, that team started out I think 6-2, and ended up going 3-5 and looked awful, limping into the playoffs. Playoff time hit, they were on the road, and that team, a switch went on. And again, that was the team that, well, I don't know if it was intended or not, but they definitely held a few bullets in the chamber, and they ended up coming back and showing some things that people didn't see. And look at what they did. They took out an undefeated New England Patriots team, right? So there's hope, and there's recent proven examples of teams that have struggled down the back half of their schedule, and then when the playoffs hit, there's a lot of experience still on this football team. So I could give a 25% piece of my pie here that says some of this is waiting in the weeds. I still think that execution is a big thing here regardless, but I could buy 25% of, they're holding back because the thing you said, Tom, is spot on. For the last 6 weeks, nothing we saw from the first 11 games looked like it was happening. 2-minute drill, other than Seattle where they ran down the field and scored, but they left a little bit too much time on the clock. Like, even now, they have 1:20 on the clock. They just have looked like an anemic offense going up the field. And we've seen them numerous times this year be able to drive the field. So I have to, as a fan, I mean, maybe I'm clinging on to any hope. I have to hope that there's a reason why that's happening.
That's what we do, baby. We cling on to hope.
Well, that's what we're trying to do. Blake, what was your percentage on it?
I'm looking at like percentage-wise, maybe in the I'm going to go like 30% range.
How are you 30?
You said you agreed, and you're at 30%.
You agree to the poll. So how much of these 6 weeks and the defense attorney stuff, how much did that sell you on, like, say, offensively being just extremely vanilla and just the guys going through the motions because they knew they weren't getting the 1 seed anymore? How much of that?
Well,
how much of that do you buy into?
Your point too, Tom. Blake was the one who brought this whole theory up last week himself. With maybe they want to hit the road. So I expected like a 70% out of it.
I was thinking like 90. I was thinking like that's why I was like, I almost said it before he went, but I didn't want to do it to him. But I was like, this is a 90 piece, and he hit me with a 30.
You were hitting this. You were throwing this idea out last week.
Goodness gracious, I did less selling for you. You know what I mean? This is unbelievable. Like as a defense attorney, I was terrible. Like I felt like I sold myself to a higher percentage, but in the meantime, I just ruined it for Blake. He's out. He's done. He's out. He's not. He don't even turn it on Monday night.
Yeah, I mean, I just think look, maybe they are holding back on some of the things on offense, and I hope they prove me wrong next week because I really hope that they're holding out and that with everybody back and that they're going to come out swinging because I really want this football team to do well. You know, like I said, I'm not. You know, I don't want you guys to think I'm trying to be all negative with this, but from what I saw that last 6 games, I mean, I don't know what to think going into next week. Look, I hope they win. You know, I think they can pull off a win, but after that, it's depending on who we play in the divisional round. You know, I'll see where it goes from there. I'm just going I'm just taking it, one game at a time at this point, and it starts next week.
Well, yeah, of course it's one game at a time, but if they win, all bets are off, right? All bets become off. So, Luke, how sold are you, brother?
Not sold at all, to say the least. I hate.
We didn't do anything to you, Luke. Come on, man.
I'm sorry. I hate the break.
You think they've exhausted all? They've showed their cards totally this season. They got nothing left in the chamber.
If you think it's 30%, I think you're just trying to say that it's that, but deep down,
you think they ain't got a flea flicker in them, bet? You think they ain't got a flea flicker? They haven't had a flea flicker. I don't even know if they know what that is.
Yeah, you don't think they got the annexation of Puerto Rico sitting in their back pocket right now?
I mean, we got Kenny Gainwell making passes. Come on.
I was gonna say, I think maybe Rashad Penny's their answer. Maybe they'll bring him back. See what he's got in the tank. Yeah, no, I don't believe in it at all. But in terms of previewing the game, what I remember what they did last time is, like, I love when people bring up the stat of why we were the best run defense in the NFL to a certain point. We weren't the best. No one ran it on us because it was like Swiss cheese. Go right down the field. It was like nothing. So that stat was a bunch of crap. That meant nothing to me anyway. So now we're getting pounded on the ground. Now what we're going to see is back to that old, like, week 2, like Washington stuff where our secondary is getting cooked because they don't want to run the ball. And I see, in terms of optimism, the best thing we got going for us right now is that it looks like there's going to be a lot of rain. And it looks like you might have to pound it on the floor. So if that's the case, and our run offense is what brings us home, and you talk about how we beat them last time, I remember like the snap count was massive advantage for us. You know, defensively, we were just getting 3 and outs because we were blitzing them all the time. But it was kind of just red zone defense. That's what it's going to come down to. You can't give up touchdowns. Like within the 20s. Baker's going to smoke us all day. I'll preview that for you right now. Like
even in the rain?
Yep. They will get to the 20. They'll find a way. You have to settle for field goals. That's not how you win Super Bowls, but we're talking about how do you pull a team out of the dirt and win a game that you haven't done in a long time. I think it's simple stuff like that. And then offensively, will they do it? I don't know, but you got to pound the ball, especially in the rain.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if you look back at this game, when they played him before, Jalen did not play extremely well, right? No. He was 23 for 37, 277, a touch, and 2 picks, right? But DeAndre Swift had 16 carries for 130 yards.
Yep.
Right? And A.J. Brown had 9 receptions for 131 yards. So when you look back at this football game, and then you want to, we ran the ball 40 times as a team. Now, Jalen had 10 of them, okay? Right, but take out Jalen's 10 for 28 yards. You rushed the ball 30 times for about $172. Okay, $172. So that's what you did. Because Kenny had 14 for 43. All right, and then offensively, Dallas had 5 catches. DeVonta had 4, but AJ was your guy. And then defensively, we had 2 sacks. Right.
Yeah, and that was kind of a slugfest too, as well, right? Remember, it came down to that last drive. We were able to put points up, and they had a chance. And they tried to come. You know, they had an outside chance there at the end, like with 4. Oh no, I'm sorry. We got the ball back. We were still 1-score game, and we went on a 4-minute drive to exhaust that game, right? I mean, that was a huge drive, and we've seen this team make huge drives throughout the year. But yes, it was a very controlled game.
15 plays
at that point too.
15 plays, 68 yards, 9 minutes and 22 seconds.
Yeah.
So to your point, Greg, about that drive, I mean, it's pretty good. And that was in Tampa as well. And listen, let's remember something. Like, Slayer says, what up, Umberto? Do you guys think they even try? They got to try to run the ball, right? Like, I mean, we just talked about it. 16 for 130. Goodness gracious. What are you saving somebody for?
Yeah.
We saving them?
What are you saving DeAndre for at this point, right?
Yeah, no. We put it in the belly, babe. That's like a 25-piece nugget. Like I'm going the big one.
DeAndre, you ready to work?
Actually, just give us the 30. We're gonna go for the 30 tonight. So I mean, I don't know. Let's give some predictions. Part of me wants to circle back and pick them. I always do, but I just won't do it. But I will lower my prediction from Sunday though, for sure. Do I pick them?
Did you defense attorney yourself back in? Are you back?
Am I back? Am I back that there's something in the tank? Am I back that my quarterback can turn it on in the biggest spots?
It's one game. That's all we got to worry about. We ain't got to worry about next week yet. We got to worry about tomorrow or Monday, right? We got to worry about this week.
I'm going, you know what?
He's back. He's back.
Here we go.
Let's go.
Here we go.
He's back.
You know what? Everybody,
the accident knocked some sense into him finally.
My back's shot. Just want to bring that up again. Definitely a back injury here, which is fun.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Ralph just sent me something. What is it?
Who did?
Oh, please, yes. No, Ralph just sent me James Franklin as a top contender to replace Nick Saban.
Yeah.
Please take him. Please take him.
Yeah.
Here we go with you two.
Yep.
We'll have plenty of Penn State talk next year on A2D. Don't worry about that, guys. With these two.
Don't worry. They won't be worth it.
No, but don't make me watch. Like I said, when my buddies are fans of teams like that, because I don't have a college team.
Yeah.
But probably the closest one I do have would maybe be Penn State. But growing up, I was always a Michigan guy.
You'll fit right in.
Who wasn't a Michigan guy in our era, Tommy, right? Fab Five. Everybody's a Michigan guy.
Yeah, come on.
I still wear only black socks because of the guys. Come on. I don't wear anything else.
It's elementary school play calling and all the same stuff. It's like watching the same exact team.
Yeah, so they win 27-24.
Okay.
Yes, let's go. He's back, baby.
Jake Elliott for the dub on a drive. We're talking about we need a drive. We're gonna talk about we need a drive. We're down 21-14 in this football game with 7 minutes to go. And we don't only get one drive. We get two. That's what franchise guys do. We get two. How Cass would do two. It's trouble getting the thumb in, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's not like he figured out last night. He was so excited. He got the thumb in. He was like, I got it, but neither here nor there. But yeah, I'm back. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baby. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are nobody. What are we doing here? You know what I mean? We stink too. But at least we have a better track record. Screw them. Screw Tampa and Rondé Barber and everything they're about. You know what? I'm not going to do this. I know we've been atrocious. I know we're not good enough right now. But I do want to believe in 255. And for everybody out there, we can't say nothing. So then I'm just going to believe. Right? So if I can't say nothing and I can't tell it how it looks and how it is, then I'm just going to all buy in then. And I didn't buy in just a little bit. I told you all 2 drives. 2 drives. Maybe a roll out to the left and a backdoor throw to AJ for a touchy. You know what I mean?
He's got taking off his headset and leaving the set. Crow
seriously.
was so pissed off.
No, but listen, I'm back. I'm back. I don't care, Luke. I don't care. You guys can look at me. You can look at me a certain way. All right. I'm not pom-poms, right? Because I made my arguments tonight on how bad this football team's been, right? Okay. I made it.
And then you circle back and you got the lotion out.
Well, I'm just an Eagles fan. As much as I don't believe, I want to. right? I want to find ways. And, like, we can go. I mean, it's freaking Tampa Bay. It's not, like, talk to me next week with Dallas.
Scored 9 points.
Yeah, talk to me next week with Dallas. You know what I mean? Next week with Dallas might be something you didn't want to win this game.
Who'd have thought coming into this year that one of your original sons was going to take this team?
How ironic is that?
And one of the most disappointing seasons in franchise history.
You want to talk ironic?
Buccaneers win 26-24.
26-24. I always look at your scores and try and figure out how to get there, because you always come up with like some strange score on some end, and you can get there. I got you. A lot of field goals, which makes sense for the Bucs.
Well, especially if it's going to be lousy weather.
Yeah, it was.
You might be looking at a field goal game.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not good down here. I will 27-17 Eagles.
All right, so a similar score to the first one.
Yeah.
In a way. Okay. Luke, Blake, Luke.
Yeah.
You can go.
Yeah. I'll go real quick. Yeah, I see this game. I mean, if the weather's going to be bad, I see it being pretty low scoring. I think it's going to, if the weather's going to be a factor, I don't expect like a lot of offensive touchdowns in this game. Although, I've been wrong before, so who knows? But I think it's going to go. I think the Eagles win this one. I'm going to say 19-16. Eagles.
19-16. That's like a Chrome score again.
Yeah. I had the same exact score.
Did you really?
Yep,
Oh, wow.
That was my score.
Wow.
As well.
That's not a Chrome score. You get there.
No, I know. I'm saying, like, but
it's a lot of field goals.
Yeah. Like, how does two people in a panel of 5 have a 19-16 same score game? That's insane to me. Like, and you go play the lottery. Like, go play the lottery.
And different teams. They got different teams too.
Yeah. It's gonna be opposite too. Yeah.
And two teams with a lot of offensive power, technically.
Yes.
Yeah, guys.
That's strange. I like it though. But at least Blake's side. Luke's side, not so much.
Because like
this is why we're on the bottom here. They're pushing us down here, Luke.
It can be
kicking us down the hill.
Real quick, this can be like player talk. And I don't think, and I talk to my athletes about this all the time, we don't give our brain enough credit for its abilities for everything in life and in sports. So, we got to sometimes trick ourselves, right? And it doesn't mean we're cocky. It means we're confident. So when you look at this football team constantly say right now over this week is 0-0. It's sell talk, right? You're saying it because you want to believe it, right? But that stuff matters. That stuff can matter.
And it's been a lot. To your point, Tommy, it's been a lot. And
it's from every interview.
Yeah, it's from what your core veterans, which you want to believe in. You know what I mean? It's from the guys at BG. It's from Slay. Like, it's from those guys, AJ and stuff like that. To your point, everybody's saying it, and that's the group of guys that in a one game and done, you got to lean on.
No, you're 100% spot on. It was definitely all those guys, and again, and you get other people to believe that okay, this is brand new, baby.
Yeah,
brand new party.
If you're gonna believe it, I'll believe it.
Because guys get up more for playoffs. The speed's another level, right? Just like the NBA, like everything just picks up a little bit. But
then the other side of it too, real quick, Tommy, is you look at our veterans, and a couple of them are on the older side. Do they want to go out with a loss, at least in the wild card round? You know what I mean? Does J.C. Kelsey want to potentially retire, losing to the Bucs? Does Brandon Graham retire in a wild card? I mean, it looks like this season's going to end on a loss. I mean, we're not blind here, right? But do you want it to be a wild card weekend, or would you rather it be the divisional round, right? You know what I mean? Or potentially a championship round if we're lucky.
Thanks, Slayer.
Thank you, Dead Slayer.
No, you're right, Greg. You're right. And
that
Slayer,
plays a lot too.
Appreciate the super chat, Slayer. Anybody wants to help support A2D, that's one way. The other way is hit the like, subscribe, and follow. That's free. So mix it in. But no, you're right. Like, and then you get guys to like follow that mentality and that thought process, and it carries over on game day. But my offensive player of the game is easy. I already told you guys, because that's who it has to be.
It's got to be.
And that's Jalen Hurts. I need Jalen to have his best game of the year, right? You got to be clean. Saying ain't rocket science. You know, you want to win a game in the postseason. How do you do it? Well, starts with I can't turn the football over, and the second part is time possession. We got to sustain drives. We got to stay on the field on third downs, right? We need long drives. We know our defense isn't world beaters. We know their offense has some players. So we don't really want to play that game. So our best way to defense to that is what? Well, let's sustain drives.
Yeah.
Let's be clean. Let's make the right decisions. And let's go on those two drives.
Let's defer the football for once. Or I'm sorry, let's accept the football for once.
Yeah, that's annoying. Like that never it hasn't worked
at home.
It hasn't worked for you in like a minute, right? So like part of me as a coach is like I'm weird with baseball, right, Greg?
Yeah.
Because most guys won home in tournament style, and I'm like, I'll defer. People are like, what do you mean? I'm like, because I want to hit first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I want you to chase me from Jump Street.
Yeah, like I want to lead off double. Right, and then the pressure's on you right away.
And the butthole tightens up.
Especially like early games. Like you give me an 8 a.m., man, then we're going to go swing it.
Yeah, we're hitting. Yeah.
We're going to go hit. So it's like, it's the same thing. Like change it up, though. But if we're not hitting, then guess what I'm doing? Then I'm accepting. Look, this is the point. Like I'm not even coaching pro sports. Like if we ain't hitting and we're not producing in the first inning, then we got to change something. Because those little changes change the complexity and the course of a football game or a baseball game. They can, right? It's like, we shut them down 1, 2, 3, and now we're up. Momentum shifted. Oh, we went on a drive and got 7. Right? Like it's 101. Like that's unbelievable to me, honestly. That's like fireball. You talk about fireball, like, yo, bro, you good down there? Nick. Like if I'm Jeffrey, like Nick. I mean, we're good. We'll receive. But that's a T-shirt in them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm going to see Nick. I'll see Nick again this winter. So it's hard to like guys watching his son play ball. It's hard to be like, yo, what'd you think about?
Make sure he gets one.
I do want to get it. I do think it should be a pick and a T. Because he would rock the T.
Yeah.
But I got to give him a go one. You know what I mean? I got to give him a go one. I'm going to get him a go one. We got some good ones on our site. A2Dmerch.com. So if you guys want to support the brand, that's how you can do it. So yeah, Jalen throws for 300 in the rain. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? 270. Like, he's around 270. But I'll just say he'll combine for 2 touchdowns and no turnovers.
Wonder if it's over on set yet.
So I feel like that's a game where like that's good enough to win.
234 is his over under.
Because
no. I'm sorry.
Always wrong, bro. It's amazing. Like you're always wrong. Like it's like impossible to do. It's actually a great trait. Like you're always wrong the first time.
Because I saw the second one, and I assumed it was Jalen.
It's just the first time. Always wrong first time, but he gets it right. He redeems himself every time. Might take a couple minutes, but we will get the right answer tonight. Nobody panic. We've been through Google and DraftKings before with Greg or BetUS, wherever he's on.
Yeah, that's where I'm going somewhere different. So.
And birth certificates.
Cotton Ball. We got Fountain of Youth. We BG defensive part of the game. Why?
238. I wasn't far off. 238.
238
on some sites.
That's low, man.
That's off a better.
Imagine your franchise quarterback's over unders 238.
Baker's was 234.
Could have to do with the possible weather that's coming through, though.
It could be. But I still have a problem with like the low. You know what I mean? I want to. You know what I mean? You got, yeah, I want to have Roger. I want darts being tossed. You know, I want to walk into 300. Yeah, I want to walk into 300. You know, I want Carson's arm strength on Jalen. Yeah, it's perfect. We just like cut off his arm, put it on Jalen. Zip. I need some zippity do that. Remember Carson's first ball ever?
Yeah,
I was hard as a rock. It was like a preseason game, and he freaking threw an app on it. And I was like, yeah, that's like Rodgers' dart, babe. You know what I mean? Yeah, Rodgers' dart. And then in the first game of the year, he checked out of something, remember? And it was like
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know which one made you harder. That the check or the dart.
I was just walking around like, Glenn, don't mind me. You know what I mean? I'm not asking for nothing. It's about him. Take care of it later. But I mean, yeah, but listen, Jalen's a competitor, baby. So I'll never take that away from him. But now, is it 238 because he's got a freaking bad paw? I mean, we haven't talked about that.
Well, he has not been throwing for a whole lot of yards either. He's been very inconsistent the second half of the year.
Oh God, we might have to start Mariota.
There's a lot of games he didn't reach 200.
Could you imagine Mariota has to get into this game?
Oh, don't.
I can imagine a lot of scenarios. So
and we win.
Let's not start throwing that out there. Okay?
I love it because then it would create so much controversy from idiots. Like idiots will rush in to be like, "I told you, Mariota was better.
You shouldn't have signed him."
Chip was smart. Chip knew what he was doing.
Chip knew what he was doing.
Should have traded Fletcher.
Chip did have a good comment on the how to fix the NCAA, though. I will give him that.
He did. But let's not get carried away. I don't mind Chip. I'm not like anti-Chip.
I'm not either.
Yeah. DeMarco Murray is. But he's a loser anyway.
Yeah, well, you could smell that from a mile away.
Oh, my God. Yeah. And why did we sign a guy with like 300 carries the year before? Like, no. That's a guy who's tired now. Why are we signing him? Unless we'll put him in like a freaking bubble for a year. And then we got him running freaking like jet sweeps. Okay. Like, I mean, you know what's amazing is like, and we talk about our play calling, like when we can sit home on a couch and be like, bro, I got more designs in my brain right now than you guys are even showing. Like, do we run crosses? Do we run any type of stuff to like?
You know why we don't? Because when they do, they work. So they were like, yeah, we got to throw them out. We gained 12 yards on that. Yep.
We throw 50-50 balls because we're looking for PI. Imagine saying that out loud.
You can think that all you want, and that could legit be your reasoning, but you can't say that out loud.
Oh, yeah, well, you know, we just figured we'd just launch it up there. What are you talking about, bro?
Just throwing YOLO balls.
Yeah, is that like a T-shirt?
Nick Foles all over again.
Nick Yo-Yo. Like, what are we talking about? Oh, God, that's a thing. If I'm an owner, I'd come down right in the presser, and I just get my beak wet in the mic. Like, he didn't mean that.
He was joking. KK, LOL.
Yeah, he's like, automatically, that's an accident. Oh, morons. All right. Who do you guys got offensive player of the game?
I'm going to go DeAndre Swift.
No common sense, yeah.
Baker. Career year in passing yards. He's going to throw for 280 plus in this ball game.
Yeah, you don't got to tell me, bro. You don't got to tell me
Not
about
for nothing. He saved his life. He saved his career.
He was always a good player.
He saved his career.
He was always a good player. Cleveland's the worst place to be for a quarterback.
Yeah. No, 100%.
For a lot of reasons, too. Like, nobody talks about, like, the win.
There's nothing to do in Cleveland either.
No, well, that's not where I'm going. I'm going just certain places are hard to play quarterback in. And that's one of them because of the wind off the lake you get in the wintertime. Like, it's not a place to build a stadium. These idiots build stadiums by bodies of water. What are we doing?
Well, then the other thing, too. The other thing is then they get sent to Carolina, which we found out what a train wreck Carolina was, and it wasn't because of him. And, you know, I thought he put up pretty good numbers in LA for the time he was there.
I was
But
gonna
he
say
had to back up Stafford.
That was
That's where
another
he started.
one where it was
Well, he
good.
took Cleveland to their only
Started
playoff
turning it
performance in
around.
how long, right? So it's not like he didn't take the Browns to the playoffs because he did. So, I mean, no, he's turned his career air quote around, right?
Yeah.
For sure. You know, I don't know if we ever live up to the billing of a number one pick, but that's not really always on the player. You know, if you stick around and you're a starter and you revitalize your career, like I think you deserve a lot of credit for your mocks and your toughness, right? Some things we thought he had, which have shown, right? Your mental fortitude to keep working, keep grinding. So, I mean, fuck Baker this week, but let's go.
Mox talk.
I mean, he does have mocks. We don't have to ever question that.
I don't disagree.
I mean, I've seen more emotion out of Baker in like 2 weeks than I've seen that out of Jalen his whole career. So, and that doesn't mean Jalen doesn't have mocks. It's just there's different types of mocks, right? There's quiet assassins and then there's vocal assassins per se. I'm not saying either one's an assassin. I'm just, I don't know. It's late. Who do you guys got? Offensive player of the game. And then defense, we'll just try to pick somebody from the stands. What a cool sign.
I'll say I think that Chris Godwin kills us in the slot, but I think that their field goal kicker is like McLaughlin or whatever. I think he's going to kick
Here we go.
I think he's kicking
a
lot of field goals.
19-point score, so he needs
Yeah,
a field goal
I
kicker.
think it's a field goal
Guys just
fest.
booting.
Yeah, I think both teams are saying, okay, we're going to get killed between the 20s and we have to give up lesser touchdowns. I think whoever plays better in the red zone is going to win this game. That's my prediction.
That's 4 field goals, right?
And
like,
I don't believe in the creativity that we haven't seen all year, even when we were winning, to be able to, go on the road, I don't care where it is, and design enough in the red zone, plus the struggles with Jalen and all that we've already mentioned. I don't think we have enough to score enough points to win the game. So, yeah.
Their field goal kicker's going to be kicking at Tampa International all night. So that's fun. Remember, you had Baker. Blake, who do you got?
Well, it's funny Luke mentioned that about the kickers and stuff, because that's who I'm picking. I'm going to go with Jake Elliott, our kicker.
But at least you have the right kicker.
Yeah.
Defensively, who's got the Godwin?
I was just going to say, because with the score I picked 19-16, yeah, I think that's just the way it's going to be. I just think it's just going to be a field goal type of game, and that's why Jake Elliott's going to be my offensive player.
Jakey Poo.
Yeah. Defensively, who's got the best sign in Tampa?
Vita Vea is pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm going Antoine Winfield as the defensive player of the game here. I think we get a pick 6.
This guy.
Oh my God.
I've always picked against the Eagles, but I was never like this, into. Oh yeah, we're getting pick 6s. I was just picking random dudes. I mean, my man has a whole game plan.
Listen. I'm just going by what I've seen. And secondly, if I'm this down on it and then they win, I feel like I'll be that much more excited that they surprised me.
Hey, I told you the way you go through life. Little bit of something.
I'm setting the bar, Greg. I'm setting the bar so goddamn low. It's like you wouldn't have to jump. You could just do a little step over.
Buddy. There you go. Me not jump. It's good for everybody.
Yeah, I'm. Go ahead, guys. If you guys have yours, go ahead.
I'll go with Devin White on some. I saw someone mention in the comments. You talk about blitzing. I think he'll get home twice as a linebacker through the middle of our offensive line. So I'll go with him to be my defensive player.
Blake, Greg.
Yeah, I'm going to go because he hasn't really been his name hasn't really been mentioned the last few games. So I'm going to go Jalen Carter. I think he has a bounce back game. He had a great game the last time. Week 3 in Tampa was majority of the reason why which led us to win that game with his pressure. So I think Jalen Carter comes back with a monster game this week.
I like that. I'm going to go Mr. Sweat. Give me a 2-sack game from the Josh Sweat.
Yep, hasn't had one in 8 weeks.
No, he hasn't.
Would be convenient.
So you're saying he's due.
I thought you were giving us the Scott Hall there, by the way, for a second.
You would.
Stefano, we just went through all that after playing Possum. Like, you can rewind it, I think, probably 25 minutes.
Probably around 30 minutes or so.
30 minutes ago, we were talking about all that. So dive in. Some of us think it's a good possibility and others no. So it's like a split panel in terms of that. But it's a great question, brother. Thanks for the comment. I used to say back in the day, I want to hear Fletcher's Cox name a million times. Remember those days? Who's our highest paid defensive player? Is it Darius?
Pick your boy. Yeah, pick your boy.
Dar?
Which Darius?
Go with Darius.
Which
my boy.
Darius?
Darius gets a pick 6.
Let's go. That would be huge.
Or just a freaking turnover.
That would also be huge.
Could just be a fumble pops up into his lap. I would like to hear Hassan Reddick name 100 times though,
and not in coverage either.
Yeah. I don't care about that because in
if
reality,
they start dropping him back in coverage, dude. It's over.
Can I just say something real quick, please? So we understand the game of football for years. This isn't a new concept. This has been going on since Clyde Simmons and Reggie White. I'm not telling you by saying that I agree with it. I'm just explaining that it's not new. It feels new. Why are we doing that? It's stupid. But
nobody said it's new. It's just atrocious to take your best guy going towards the quarterback and have him going away from the quarterback.
Listen, baby, you assume I was talking to you. I'm talking to people who may not know it's not new. That's what I'm talking to. You took I was coming at you because we were talking. No, I'm saying in general.
You've been talking about that for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's not a new concept. It's just a stupid concept. If I got a guy that's double digits in sacks and he's only one of 2 players that have 11 plus sacks in the last 4 years, hey, I need you to go get that guy. So I don't know if you were doing it because, again, you were trying to make up for your linebackers being atrocious. I don't know, right? I don't know the reason their thought process is, besides teams want to get the ball out quick and them trying to stop that. But what I do know is I watched a lesser pass rush, a worse pass rush than you had before. So knowing that, guess what? I'm going to need Sweaty, who stinks out loud, and I'm going to need Hassan to get after the quarterback.
Well, that's almost part of my 25% that tells me there could be some ploy or possum. Let's show him Hassan the last 2 weeks in the coverage for 7 to 12 times in a game, and then playoff wise, just boom, pound him at the quarterback and just screw him. That's one part of that 25% that says maybe there is some trickery going on right now. Maybe it's wishful thinking to think that Matt Patricia's not that dumb. We'll find out, but that actually falls into my 25%.
No, and listen, it's fair, right? You were showing something different to try it to see if it worked. You find out it doesn't, and now you go after it with a different approach, and now they scheme for something a little bit different.
But you run it the second week. But you run it the second week again, making them think, all right, they're going to think that this is what I'm going to be running now as the play caller. Then we come in and we start going after. I hope.
Crum,
I'm being optimistic.
Because if you take that even a step further, I can't believe we're going here. But if you take it even a step further, right? Patricia's coming in, no training camp, right? No OTAs. You can't, go back and do them again. So you're trying to things on the fly, and you're going up against lesser opponents also, right? So you're hoping even if it doesn't work once or twice, it's not going to cost you the game. Well, unfortunately for the Eagles, of course it did, but you might be onto something. I might be at 75% now.
Right. But even though it didn't work right now, because that's what he's ran since he's been in that spot, that other team's going to say, okay, this is part of his defense.
Yeah.
When actuality, it's not. Maybe it's the trickery, the mind effery that we talk about going on.
Yeah. My thing with that is, even if you want to try doing that, you're a doofus. Because I watch, modern day NFL. I watch Aiden Hutchinson and TJ Watt. Your top dog that is a primary position in this league that gets after the quarterback pass rusher, I never see them do that. Not once.
I've seen
I don't
TJ
even see it
drop back.
attempted.
TJ drops.
TJ
I was
drops.
going to let you go, but TJ drops.
I'm just saying.
Because listen, they're in a defense I don't like. They're in a 3-4 style.
Yeah.
They're in a 3-4 style defense, which is atrocious to begin with. So that's a story for another day. But in 3-4 concepts, they do that, which I don't agree with. But that's part of the design in that style of D. Again, completely not a fan of, to your point. Like, how many sacks does TJ Watt have if he never drops back? Right? How many sacks does Hassan have, or pressures, or a possible turnover if he's not dropping back? How many times do those guys drop back and it creates a turnover on your end or a negative play? So they're the things you have to factor in. But at the end of the day, I don't need to see it Monday night anymore. Right?
For sure.
And the whole reason they do that is because they're afraid of him to get doubled. For me, I'm cool with him getting doubled. That's why I paid Fletcher Cox and Josh Sweat. It ain't coming anywhere else. So they got to win, and they're not winning.
I do like Mark's comment in here. Mark Schmeckel says, it also makes no sense because Reddick was an off-the-ball linebacker coming out of college, and he stunk it up, which is why they switched him to be a primary pass rusher.
Yeah, which he still is, right? But again, I think we all agree we don't even drop him back.
I hope so, Dead Slayer.
Well, I mean, he absolutely does. I mean, listen, as much as I smoke him at times, I mean, at the end of the day, he's the number one corner in this league. So you get a guy back like that, that's a huge win, man. That ain't even up for debate how big of a win that is. Now, that doesn't stop your inability to stop the run. You know what I mean? But it does help you in the passing game. Absolutely, guys. I mean, come on. Let's be fair. I'm always fair. Like, the thing Darius Slay doesn't help us is not saying Slayer said that, but like even a guy like me who smokes him sometimes, come on, he cleans a lot up back there. Greg says he believes Jalen Carter will get 2 sacks. All right,
giddy up, Greg.
Love it, brother. All right, let's get through this slate of games real quick. All right, just fire away. We'll fire away at the wild card round, and we'll call it a night before it gets way later than we wanted it to be. And I apologize for that. So
you got it.
I mean, unless you have it, I don't care.
Yeah, Cleveland -2.5 at Houston, 44.5.
Well, the Browns defense is like the best in football, so give me the Browns. Great defenses travel.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I was completely wrong on C.J. Stroud, and I'm glad to be wrong because he seems like a really good kid too. But yeah, give me the Browns.
On the other side of that too, Greg, one of our own. At one point, love seeing D'Amico Ryans do such a great job there in Houston.
Yeah. No, it's a great,
absolutely
well-deserved opportunity, and he's done a great job in that down there. So good for him. The other two guys want to make a pick?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Browns as well.
Yep, give me the points too.
All right, Kansas City -4.5 hosting the Miami Dolphins. 44 is the over/under.
Tyreek Hill revenge game.
Yeah, I think Miami has.
There's some great storylines.
There is, man. That's why we had to go through it. I was so tired. I'm like, I really don't want to do this, but we got to do it.
No,
I mean,
there really is.
You got the Deshaun Watson Bowl, even though he's not playing. And you got the Tyreek revenge game.
I caught 15 passes from Flacco one day. You know what I mean? a lot of storylines.
Yeah, I got to go Miami here and with the points as well.
Martian, you guys said we were unprofessional early on. You remember the chat? Unprofessional because we weren't on time. Even though Tom got rear-ended, got going 50. It felt like. What do you think? We ain't gonna finish the job here.
Let's make sure we make that clear. Rear-ended car to car here. Okay.
We were just gonna let it go.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to think I dabble, then that's on you. Like he eats their own. I'm just not. That hole's closed. That's an exit only. But I mean, listen, you can have it open. It's not. I'm not mad at you.
I'm gonna go Miami.
Sorry, Greg.
I like the fall of Andy Reid is a fun one to watch.
Shut up, dude. Why would you? You're an asshole. Why would you want to see him fail though?
Because it's fun.
It's fun. It's fun. Why? What did he do to you?
He didn't win.
Gregory. He won you a lot of football games. Daddy did back.
He
in the day.
he
right, he
changed
did.
your
And I
organization.
hated him back then.
And we called him Daddy. All right,
I
so
didn't call him Daddy.
Well, you're a fraud. Anybody who won here, you didn't like.
I can make
You're a rich co-type Ray Rhodes.
I could make a really mean comment about, but we're gonna stay kosher here.
No, make a mean comment.
No, his kids don't even call him Daddy.
Well, that's fine. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You're a problem, and that may or may not be true.
100% true.
Great coach.
I'll go with the Chiefs. I think it's supposed to be the coldest weather game the Dolphins have played in. Some crazy stat about how cold the game's going to be.
That's a storyline, Luke.
Yep.
A win.
Yeah, and to me, the main thing is I get it how bad he's looked.
He's keeping the main thing.
Yep, this kind of stuff.
Like Jalen now too.
This kind of stuff really, hits home with me. Like Tom Brady in those games where maybe they didn't win Super Bowls, he still didn't lose at home to a team like this. I'm assuming Mahomes will do enough to win the game in the cold weather at home. I refuse to pick against him at home, especially against a team that seems to always fall apart in the playoffs. So I will take the Chiefs in that cold weather.
Miami always goes. They haven't been to the playoffs.
No, yeah, you're right. But it seems like when it matters, they kind of just.
I think the last time they were in the playoffs, Chad Pennington was their quarterback.
Well, they were in it last year and almost pulled off a massive upset with the backup quarterback last season. But yeah, I'm going with the Chiefs in the cold weather game.
Yeah, and I'm going to take the Chiefs as well because I agree with Luke as well. Like I think with the cold weather and stuff, I think that's really going to affect Miami's game, and I like my homes at home. So give me the Chiefs.
All right, first game on Sunday. Buffalo -10 hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. 36 is the over/under.
Steelers cover. That's what they do. Probably.
No TJ Watt, though?
No TJ Watt?
No TJ Watt. MCL or something.
Dude, yeah, they just hang in shit. They just hang around in shit.
Buffalo's a weird team.
They normally do.
And Buffalo's weird. Well, Buffalo plays down to people.
Yep.
They do.
They always have. So they're going to play down to them. Buffalo wins. But I would, if you're betting, I'm taking Pittsburgh in that game.
Me too.
Just I think they hang around it. They don't win it, but they're just in it. It's just they're coaches.
Yeah, I see this game. I'm kind of with you in a sense. Like I see this game as being a 1-score game, or it's a complete blowout.
Yeah, it's 1 or 2.
It's 1 or 2. Like there's no in between. And I'm going to go with the complete blowout. I want I want Pittsburgh to get blown out because, to Mike Tomlin's credit, I don't know how they're here.
It's crazy. It's unbelievable.
Don't know how they're here.
Slayer, thanks for super chat, brother. And he goes, he doesn't buy into the weather factor. 13 Eagles versus Saints and Breeze Park. I agree. Both teams are playing in cold weather. We act like because one team lives in like an area that gives them an advantage. If it's freaking cold like that, it ain't kosher for nobody. I don't care. I don't care. That ain't weather for that's just toughness weather. Like we act like because these guys play in Miami that their college wasn't cold, or we act like they never played in cold weather.
Or other teams they played for didn't play in cold.
Yeah, it's not like you've had the same group for 5 years.
Tyreek played in Kansas City.
Yeah, exactly. So you got guys that are familiar enough with the cold. I ain't worried about that.
I think when you talk about Miami, I think it needs to be brought up, especially this season alone. They went on the road at Buffalo and got absolutely destroyed because Buffalo said, cold weather game, divisional opponent, I'm going to pound it down your throat, and they couldn't do anything about it. And they went to Kansas City, and the offense scored 14 points. So I'm not I don't know. I think there's something to be said with it, with Miami teams, because it's such an advantage the other way.
I get it. I just think some of those things are meant to be broken when it seems too easy, right? That's all. Things like easy cheese. But now, go ahead, Greg.
Blake, you go?
Yeah, so I'm going to, what is it, Buffalo, Pittsburgh? Is that the one
10.
we're picking?
Yep.
Okay,
-10.
yeah. -10. Yeah, I'm going to go with Buffalo on that one. I think Buffalo wins by 3 touchdowns. I don't think it's even close.
Hey,
All right.
Luke, to your point, Miami almost beat Buffalo with their third string quarterback last year in the wild card game.
Yep, you're right.
Next game on Sunday, Dallas -7.5 to the Green Bay Packers.
That's a 1 o'clock in the morning response. Back.
Over under 50.5.
I'm not going to get in this way. You're right.
I got a 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Oh, let's go. Let's go. Get through it. What was the game, Greg?
Dallas -7.5 hosting Green Bay 50.5.
Green Bay covers that.
I'm
Blake said it. Packers win. Packers win.
I wanted more to happen than anything. Yes. I'm going Dallas. They're really good.
I'm out. Yeah, cool
Yeah.
story. See ya.
I want to be wrong. Trust me.
Yep, good at home. Night.
Because if we're wrong, we don't see San Fran next week.
Exactly. Dak doesn't throw a lot of picks. Uh-oh, now he does. Listen, Blake said it. Packers and Rams win. You know where divisional games coming.
Yep. And it is funny how this year, every time a quarterback or a player has been hyped up in a week, they throw a shitburger that weekend.
Yep. See that?
Who else? Who's next?
All right, I guess I'll
Come
go.
on, fire away. Let's go.
All right, I guess I'll go. Regarding this game, I think everybody fails to realize that Dallas has not beaten Green Bay the last few times in the playoffs. Now, granted, I know those were different teams. I think the streak's going to continue. I think Green Bay is going to go in. They're going to upset them. And I think Dallas is going wild card weekend. Bye-bye, Dallas. Packers in an upset.
All right, let's go.
I'd love to see if they don't. Yeah, I'd love to see if they don't got Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre and them back there. Jordan Love's a cool prospect and all, but I think they're gonna win by like 50 at home. I don't even think it's gonna be close.
He has statistically been, I think, the best quarterback since week 11.
Yeah, no, he's definitely played great. I think the playoffs are a different animal, and beating them at home is not an easy task ever.
Oh, I think Dallas is going to smoke them.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's going to be close.
All right, cool. What's the next one?
Detroit -3 hosting Matt Stafford and the Rams 51.5.
I'll go last. Go ahead, guys.
Money line Rams. Book it.
Yeah, I got I think Stafford wins this game. I might even do like an alt spread and make the Rams the favorite in this game. I really like the Rams in this game. I think Stafford is going to break the hearts of. Sorry, Don, if you're still here, brother. I think you're.
I think Don will accept it. If he's
Maybe.
a true Lions fan, he probably still roots for Stafford.
Oh, but I don't know if he accepted
I
again.
don't think he's got that room for him this week.
Yeah,
Was he the poster boy?
that's a heartbreaker. If Stafford's the one that takes you out your first playoff appearance after all those years, and he's already got a ring. Ooh,
Good
that one
trade.
hurts.
See who wins the trade. All right. Is that it?
Everybody
No,
else made.
Everybody went.
Yeah, I agree with you guys as well. That I think the Rams are going to go in and upset them as well. So I'm going to take the Rams.
Yeah, I'll go with the Rams, and it's because Dan Campbell does not have a feel for life sometimes. He's kind of too aggressive sometimes, and I think he'll make a, brain dead call like he did in Dallas. I don't care how bad you got screwed over. You went for it like 4 different times. God was telling you it wasn't going to happen that day, and he still went for it. So
Take the extra point. Get overtime.
I'll take Matt Stafford in the revenge game too.
All right, I'll take the I'll be the guy who takes the Lions then.
And then that comes to us. Eagles -3 over Tampa Bay. 44. We already did that.
Yep, we did it. So great show, boys. Monday night. We'll see you on a post game Monday night following the Eagles game. So that's where you'll catch agree, disagree. And
Happy birthday, Hollis, by the way.
happy birthday to Hollis Thomas. You can catch him tomorrow night, 5 p.m. with Irvin Fryer, vetted on A2D radio. And then Friday morning, Cromer and the Blue Meanie. Friday, 11 a.m., they're going to be doing some Eagles talk. So there's some more Eagles coverage for you. And like I said, Sunday, you're not going to get agree, disagree, but we'll be seeing you afterwards on Monday night. And Luke, obviously, like Mondays, we expect to see it. Hopefully after a win. So we'll have a lot to talk about. Oh man, it could be really fiery Monday night, or it could be a lot of love. We're gonna find out. But we appreciate every one of you. It's been A2D Wednesday nights for Chrome, Luke, Blake, Greg. I'm Tom. We hope everybody enjoys our new rollout here. We're gonna be rolling out some new shows within the next month. So stay tuned. Hit the like, subscribe, follow, and most importantly, go Birds. We love you. And Joel Embiid, please get healthy.